positive for society as a whole? Because like, sure, we can have individual goods, but I would say, lording materialism as your highest good is not good ultimately. And we just have statistics for this too. Like, women that go into this sort of work, like, statistically have like trauma, they have issues with drug use, like even within like the OnlyFans space. So again, like this industry that I think we would all agree is a net negative. Like, if we want to look at like the old school porn and like prostitution, like no one would say that that's empowering or good for women. And so the answer to that is not to just open it up for more women and for younger women and for younger men and married men. I think like 90% of the OnlyFans customers are married men, something like that. Like, again, if we want to just talk about the destruction of the nuclear family, what's best for society, it's ultimately always going to come down to that. So another big net negative.
And if you are watching and you want to join the panel, I've been dropping the link into the live chat over on the YouTube side. If you want to join, feel free to start heading backstage now. I've already got a few of you back there. Go on and get it. Okay, so wait, where did that thought go? What was your last thing that you just said? Married men. Okay, so do you blame the seller or do you blame the buyer?
I don't even think it's necessarily about blame. Like, we live in this kind of perverse society where, again, like, sex is not meaningless. But like, I heard a good analogy like this. Like, if we all agree that married men being on these sites is bad, like, I think most feminists even would say, like, they wouldn't want their husband looking at OnlyFans models. Like, they would agree that there's some sort of vow duty to be upheld within the marriage structure. So they would say like adultery is bad. Like, most feminists would even agree with that. And so if 90% of the men, your customers, are committing adultery, that would be like, I heard someone say it's like, if I was running, if I had a gun store and 90% of my customers were going off and murdering people, would I maybe just shut down my gun store, right? Like, if I knew that 90% of the people using my services were doing something very unethical in my mind, wouldn't I just shut the whole thing down? So again, we had to just think about what is good, what is the highest good, what are we aiming for as a society? And if materialism is the highest good, then I guess they're doing nothing wrong.
Well, I mean, we've made materialism the highest good because that's what we want, right? That's what we've created it to be. The industrialization or industrial revolution, I swear, like, and then you got the assembly line and all that coming right after it. That was it. That was it right there that turned everyone into materialist. And then it turned to marketing. Then it turned to how can we, and then it turned to get into the house that we have household names, right? If it's a household name, it's good, like Tide or Band-Aids, right? Things like that. So we've created our own system in which now we're mad at, and now we're mad at the results and then blame women, right? I'm not saying you are blaming women, but that's where we've kind of come to. That's where every anti-feminist person, most of them that I've come across, that's where we go. We're like, women bad. They just want to have sex, abort babies, and color their hair, right? And I don't think that's necessarily true. And if you really think of it technically, like, I'd say 99% of Americans are probably feminists to some degree, because you wouldn't be here on this platform. I wouldn't have a platform. I wouldn't be at a job. I wouldn't have, like, we would, everything would be completely different. All women would be at home cooking and doing the dishes and taking care of babies, right? To a degree, right? With a part-time job on the side. But even the idea that, like, men entertain women going to bars or even participate in premarital sex, right? Everybody's a feminist. The men are taking advantage of it, right? They get ass. like they're winning.
That's the problem, yeah.
Right. They're winning, right? There's no work to get the reward, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So this is what we're running into. But again, I don't think it's like women bad. I think we've just created this world. the corporations have created this world where money good, materialism good, buy stuff, get a tiny apartment in New York, buy the Gucci bag, and you're happy because you have things and stuff.
Yeah, and I think we all at our core understand that that's not good, right? Like we all understand that like things don't make us happy, right? So, and that's always been true. Pre-industrialization also. So, a couple things. Like I always hear this from the feminists, like, "Oh, you wouldn't even have a platform if it weren't for feminists." So obviously, I'm just going to reject this point because I think that a lot of the feminist kind of rhetoric relies on that sort of false framing. Like some of the earliest feminists, Mary Wollstonecraft, she was touring and writing philosophy books and debating men in the mid 1700s. So there were always women that were outspoken and were writers and were doing things. It's just a lot of women were busy in their communities and in their homes and with their families. So again, I don't think it was like a lock on the door. I think it was just women weren't doing these things. To your point of like, I also don't think that in general women are evil. I think there's evil in the world. I think men can be evil. I think women can be evil. And you're right. There is. And when I talk about abortion, I think about this because a lot of women have been kind of tricked into thinking that a baby in the womb is nothing but a clump of cells. Like you talk to your average leftist, and that's what they'll say. Now, I think abortion's gravely, awfully evil, and I think that the people that have convinced women that abortion is not wrong, or that OnlyFans is empowering, or that you don't need children to be happy, or X, Y, and Z. Like I think those people are evil. I think the ideology is evil. I think materialism is evil. So I think a lot of these things can be evil. And obviously within these ideologies, there are more evil people, there are less evil people. But yeah, it's not like I hold really anyone personally accountable for like this culture we have normalized. As you're saying, the men go to bars and they also, indulge in this sort of like women being easy. And I agree, like they do, and they shouldn't. But I think again, it's gonna boil down to like, what do we value as a culture, as a society, and yeah, the feminist kind of propaganda has helped a lot of the degeneracy happen, I would say, but it's not the only thing.
Okay. All right. Well, if you want to come up and hang out with Taylor and be combative with her, she's probably very excited to have you. The link is in the live chat. Feel free to start going and jumping in now. Let's see. We'll get through there's a few super chats that came through. Oh, we've got the matriarchy winning tonight, by the way. As Varun sending in the big 5. Thank you so kindly, As Varun. We love you so much. Iotin, who I will say congratulations to Iotin. The patriarchy actually won today. She just got engaged. She sent the lovely picture in the Discord, and she said the patriarchy got me, guys. So we're so excited for her. And thank you, Mater Nation. Be sure to send all of your love over to Iotin in the chat. She says, career OnlyFans models have terrible 401ks, poor future planning. I'm sure you would agree with that, Taylor.
True. Yeah. No long-term career there.
Well, and I think that's probably the problem too, is you have these women doing like business, right? But not actually doing business.
Right. It's not sustainable and can stop you from getting other jobs, stop you from getting other, relationships, things that you want. So very little thought about long-term consequences, I would say.
So, I mean, agreeably, I would say that the bigger problem, aside from materialism and consumerism, is we like the easy button.
True. But I think women tend to indulge in that easy button a little more than men. I think, again, like we have to ask ourselves within a functioning society, what are the duties of everybody? And I've never heard a feminist tell me what the duties of women are, convincingly. So, they don't want to accept the duties of raising the children. They think it's, beneath them, that it's not good enough. So yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what my argument comes down to.
I guess my question to that would be, would we want those women to be mothers?
Maybe. I mean, again, like I think a lot of women that it kind of goes down to my theory that a lot of women probably want to be mothers. They just don't think they do. Like, I think a lot of women that are stuck in leftist feminism world, they probably would be great mothers and they just don't know it. They've been convinced that they'll hate it because they like going to brunch too much or something. But you know, it's hard as a mother, and you're a mother. It's almost hard to describe, you know, the joy of it all, because when I was younger and I saw, you know, parents with their children, I didn't think I wanted that either. But it really is something you have to kind of just do.
I was actually teaching at a dance studio when I was like 17, 18, and I was in charge of like the 3-year-old classes all the way up to adults, right? So these 3 to 5-year-olds, like I would take Tylenol before I went in to teach them, and that actually made me not want to have kids. Now I ended up, of course, having kids later, but I was like, these little shits, like they're buttheads.
It's so different when it's your kid, though, because I was a nanny for a long time before I became a mother, and it's like so different when it's your kid. That's what I try to explain to women. It's hard to, you know, explain.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe that would kind of feed in again to your concept? Because I preach this one as well, that if we stayed closer to our families, like it used to be, and I still see it in especially the Italian families and the Greek families out here. I'm on the East Coast, and they are like right up the street from each other. They buy houses next to each other, and they are locked in. And they, I would say, have the most the better value system in terms of the morality and stuff. And they're very tight knit on family, and you don't mess with that family because that whole family lives on the same block, and they'll all come after you. Whereas we are leaving our homes, we're traveling away to cities, or we go off to college, you know, in some far off state and meet a man and get married or whatever. And then we follow him somewhere else to the depths of hell, wherever. And I think that is also a bigger piece to that, where if we are staying closer to home, now we're seeing our siblings as they have babies, and our aunts and uncles as we're growing up, them have babies. So we're learning that nurturing and responsibility early on. Whereas like I'm trying to think of when was the last time I held somebody else's baby.
Right?
You know,
it was so normal. It's so normal. Watch any show that's set in like the 70s or something, and you'll just see this communal aspect of like dropping your kids off with the neighbor, or like with your sister. Like I agree, and I think women would feel like motherhood was a lot less daunting if they had this kind of big family structure.
That's I think that's fair. Well, and even at that, I mean, when I had my daughter, I had my parents were, you know, I moved back home with my dad. My mom was right on the corner, and everybody pitched in to figure it out. Right. So that's a like going into that, getting pregnant, I was like, oh my God, I'm screwed. Like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. But then realizing the support network that I had and that ability was beautiful and really helped out a lot. So Iotin says also, if you are lucky, eventually you will be old and no longer marketable to that skill set. I don't know. Grannies, what is it like?
I don't know.
What is the, it used to be MILF. Now it's GILF is like one of the top searched things. Yeah.
We're so effed.
Well, maybe that's a good thing, right? They'll like move to they're already, there's nothing, they've already done their duty.
Run out of options.
Right. So maybe it's not that bad of a deal.
Yeah, like a retirement kind of fun hobby.
You know, I mean, you know, I was thinking I should make an OnlyFans and just like cook dinner.
That's what the platform was like used for. It was meant to not even be like porn. It was meant to just be like, here's my hobby. It was like a Patreon kind of thing. So bring it back to its original. Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that. We'll just make dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner all day.
I'll subscribe.
The Musk of the Husk. We got Husky was backstage a second ago. Feminism really isn't feminine. Women should stick to doing the wonderful thing women can do instead of trying to prove that women are more than women.
I agree.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I mean, I have 2 brothers, so I've always lived in competition with them growing up, and I'm the middle child, so I have my own issues I work out there, but I don't feel the need to like necessarily compete with men on a men's level. I would say that. All right, you ready to meet your panel? I went on a little longer than I planned, but you ready to have them up?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Here we go. All right. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I've got Mrs. Balderson. Taylor, you met her husband, Mr. Balderson, backstage. This is Mrs. Balderson. We love her. They're a darling couple. They love to be here and talk these kind of conversations. So I know Mrs. Balderson is probably going to be on your team. Spin City, I'm not sure. Ooh, I got some echo coming from somewhere. Oh, it's Mrs. Balderson, of course. You might actually have to fix it on your end. Spin City, I don't know where you're going to fall on this line. I've seen you try to talk right-wing talking points, but I don't know where you stand on the feminism. Clay, I think you think that probably women should be free because the amendments and rights, so we shouldn't appeal the 19th because of that, but maybe you have a different ideology built in. Ghosty, I know you're going to go to town on this one and you're going to have fun. Taylor, meet Ghosty. Ghosty, meet Taylor. You're going to be frenemies here going forward. And Husky, based on your super chat here earlier, I think you're going to put women back in the kitchen and set them straight.
No, absolutely not. I'm definitely here to piss people off, but I'm also here to play devil's advocate very much.
All right. Fair enough. Well, Mrs. Balderson, you're getting your tech fixed right now. Spin. And remember, everyone, this is the respectful Q&A. Do not insult our guest. When we go into full open floor mode, we can have a little bit more fun. But right now, who's that back there?
Not here to offend anyone.
Oh, okay. But remember, we are asking our respectful questions. I'm going to ask everyone to mute up for now. Spin is passing on his turn. So I will hand it to Clay. Clay, you go ahead with your first question, please.
Fantastic. Nice to meet you, Taylor. Good to see you. Thank you for coming up, and hopefully you'll enjoy the conversation. So I really enjoyed your talking points. Really, I kind of boiled it down essentially to two kind of categories for feminism. One is the sexualized side of it, and then the other side would be the non-sexualized side of it. And then within that non-sexualized side of it, it would be like work and play. Essentially, that's what I've kind of boiled it down to. So for me, the sexualized side of it, I don't think should be something out freshly in the public. Like I'm all about, as Sarah mentioned, our First Amendment rights. But there's a time and place and manner for that. So it should be restricted. That's things for the bedroom. And then past that would be the non-sexualized stuff, the work and the play. There's plenty of activities that most feminists would probably point out that, hey, women like to do this. Men aren't really into doing that. So allow the women to do that. But then also you've got the work side of it, where, again, the same thing. Most feminists, I'm guessing, would say, look, women like to do this work as opposed to the men like to do that work. And so really with the work side of it, that's where I'm probably wanting to focus most. I personally think it's a great thing that women are able to get into the workforce. I think it's a great thing because if it was just men doing a lot of the jobs that women do, we wouldn't have nice things. We wouldn't have the pretty things that we have because men don't give a shit, to be quite honest with you. We don't. We don't care what it looks like. short of the woman herself. I mean, that's on the sexualized side, but the things that women do in the workforce is to pretty things up. Not only that, but they also have that motherly instinct that they bring over from the other side, which I think is actually very good in the workforce. You know, cooking, cleaning, these sort of things. It's a way to boost that. I think there's a crossover here in the marketing department, because a lot of things use sexualization in the workforce, where I think a lot of the issues could be solved is essentially not sexualizing it to a point or a standard that's so degenerate that essentially you look at it and you say, wow, that's pornography. So that's kind of my stance on it. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess your point on working, when you say like, okay, well, women should be able to work and they have this more kind of aesthetic eye, is maybe what you're saying, like for beauty. And I agree. I think I agree with you that men and women have different strengths. And I think I said to Sarah in our initial conversation that when we see the jobs that women were doing, you know, pre-feminism versus today, they're very much the same. Women tend to go towards nurturing and childcare and nursing. You know, obviously some jobs are out of date versus now, or technology has introduced new jobs. So I don't think I'm for restricting anybody's rights. And I haven't said that. As far as restricting access, and a lot of the framing that feminism has given us is that, well, women weren't in all these jobs because they couldn't, which I just kind of reject that idea. And even if it were true, I don't see a societal harm in that. And so I guess my ultimate like thesis is that sure, women can work, women can do whatever they want, but what should they do for society? What should be their duty? They should have children, and they should be taking care of their children, because I think they are made to do that. I think they are uniquely qualified for that, and in a way that nobody else is, men included. So yeah, I mean, I probably agree with most of everything you said.
Perfect. Yeah. And just to kind of follow up with that, you know, with the children thing, you know, yes, women are really kind of geared more towards the home life and that sort of thing. But with men, you know, yeah, they go out and they do their job and then they come back home. But essentially, I don't want to take away the importance of fathers in the home as well.
100% agree. Yeah.
Right. So
Very
they
important.
also play their role, and
Yes.
and it's a little bit different. It's not bad. The mother's duties outside of the home aren't bad. They're just different. Just like the
Agreed.
father inside of the home, not bad, just different.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Clay. My camera's slowing down again. I thought I got it fixed today, guys, and it is not. It was working so good earlier. So my apologies if I am lagging out on the visuals. Ghosty, I will hand it over to you, my love. Go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, there are obviously like a lot of critiques I had being a feminist myself, but I would say the one thing I kind of agree with just in general, and it's not specifically for women, is the community aspect. I just think we are lacking community in general as a society, and I think that would be better, and I think it would be a lot helpful for motherhood too. So like I agree with that. I guess like my biggest thing is I'm not in the business of telling like women what to do. We don't tell men what to do, but often there's this focus on what should women be doing, what should women be doing solely, not what men should be doing. And I understand, like you talked about, a lot of propaganda and women being like taught into these ideas and stuff. I grew up pretty I would slut shame. I wanted to get married when I was very young and have children, like when I was like in my early 20s, until I started dating boys, and they would break my heart, and nobody wanted long-term relationships. And I grew up and like that's just like not how it ended up working out. I stopped slut shaming once I started learning about how people like, I mean, I will still slut shame like hardcore sluts, like people who are like extreme about it. But I'm not gonna like slut shame people who just like aren't naturally monogamous or just like aren't in a long-term serial relationship commitment at the time. Like whatever. Like I'm not in the business of dictating people's lives like that. So I guess to like go on one of your arguments and put that aside. Well, sorry. There is just like a lot. Okay, so the first point is that I kind of learned feminism. I don't feel like it was indoctrinated into me. I feel like the current dating standards pushes women into these places. Personally, do you want to respond to that first?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So one thing you said we don't tell men what to do. And I kind of reject your premise of like, I'm not in the business of telling people what to do, because I think when we have larger discussions about like what's moral, what's good for society, what ought people do, I think we kind of do tell people what to do in a sense. And I'm not really speaking about individuals. I'm talking about as a whole, because maybe to rephrase what I think you're saying is like, I think we have expectations of men within a society. And I named them kind of earlier. Like, we expect men to maintain infrastructure. We expect men to sign up for the draft and go die in a war. We expect men to do jobs that women simply cannot do or will not do. And there's nothing wrong with having those expectations. And this is for men as a whole. And so when I say like, what should women be doing? I'm saying it in that same sense. Like, what should women as a whole be doing? And I'm not interested in judging the individual woman. I've been through many stages of life. I understand what it's like to be in certain mindsets. But like you're talking about slut shaming, like I'm not really. I'm interested in slut shaming, like, as a whole, like bring stigma back, bring back kind of standards for everybody. That includes men.
Okay.
And so when you say you learned feminism kind of through your interactions through like dating, like I think you're right. Like, you did learn feminism that way because of what we've normalized in society, saying like, well, men, it's fine to kind of like treat women like garbage because, you know, whatever, like sex is meaningless, and, you know, marriage, who cares about marriage, and women will just give it up anyway. So I think you're right. You probably did learn feminism in that way. My kind of plea tonight here is like, what is good for society, what is ultimately good for women. And while it may not be like telling each individual woman what to do, it's more speaking to the whole, if that makes sense.
So I guess like the thing is, in these conversations, we're always focused on the sex workers, and we never focus on like porn producers. We're never focused on the men who make money off of the sex industry. The conversation is always, I understand, like you agree with that, but like, the conversation is always about that.
Well, only because the conversation tonight is about feminism. And I think something that feminism has told women specifically is that this industry is empowering. And if this conversation were, hey, what should we tell men to do? I would say, you're right. We should tell men to stop producing porn and using porn. Like, I would say that equally to men.
Okay. And I agree. Like, I wouldn't say sex work is empowering for everyone. I do think there are like some people who are inclined to be sex workers just naturally, and that's okay. But I personally would love to raise the age of entering any kind of sex work to 21. That's my stance. I think 18 is way too young. I wanted to respond to your other point, but I'll let other people talk and then we can continue.
Sure. Thanks for your thoughts.
Yeah. All right. I will kick it over to Husky. What you got for us?
Just pass me for a sec. I'm just paying bills.
Sure, no problem. Lone Wolf, my darling, are you set and ready to go? Lone Wolf, the missus. Yep.
How dare you cheat on Sarah paying your bill?
Lone Wolf, to you, darling. Did you have a question for Taylor or a comment?
Not really. I was just joining the paneling. I agree with most of what she says. There's only a question I have for her. Like, in my family, I am the situation that my parents were not married when they seed me. And my grandfather made my parents get married through the situation, which made a very hard life on me. Like, my mom regretted every part of my life and made me almost like her personal slave. And the whole situation, I almost say that it was better when they legally separated for a while, that I actually grew a lot more by not having my mom in my life.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, that's still, it would be a patriarchal stance then, right? Because I'm assuming you went to live with your dad.
Yes, I lived with my
which
dad.
I believe the data, Taylor, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the data shows that if a child actually, during a split, the child goes with the father, they actually have a better chance of doing better. So you actually benefited from that you actually didn't necessarily benefit from feminism. You actually still benefited from the patriarchal stance, if I could say it that way. Does that make sense?
But with them being together the whole time, I think I would have turned out with a lot of more things against me. I probably would have ended up doing drugs. I would have gotten into more, bad relationships. I think what saved most of my time was because my mom was separated during those crucial times that she was gone.
Fair.
Yeah. And that's I would never say that like no one should ever separate. I think the kind of criticism of no fault divorce was that it just kind of made divorce quite normalized and ultimately destruction. And in the Catholic Church, actually, even if you have a child out of wedlock, the belief is that marriage should still be entered willingly. Like you shouldn't be forced into marriage. And so I think there's individual situations. And again, like it's not like divorce never happens or shouldn't ever happen. But it, again, I agree with Sarah. It's like we showed that like actually there is this sort of patriarchal force in your life that was positive, and I'm glad that you had that. So.
Yep. Thank you, Lone Wolf. Effigy, I know where you're coming from. Go for it. Have at it.
Well, first off, no fault divorce was done by a bunch of rich men in California under Ronald Reagan because they didn't want discovery into their divorce proceedings. It had nothing to do with feminism. It just gets blamed for it.
They claim it, not me. They claim it. They love to talk about it.
I have two quick questions for you, Taylor.
Go ahead.
Do you want it to be made illegal for you to own property, sign contracts, and have a bank account?
If it meant that, and that's the context you're talking about is only within marriage, is that men were just expected to, women couldn't legally hold debt. So if there was a law that said I legally couldn't hold debt, and for those reasons, my husband had to take care of all those other things, sure.
Cool. All right. So the other question is, would you be fine with it being made legal for there to be domestic violence, marital rape, and sexual harassment in the workplace?
No, but I don't think feminists solved all those issues. I think they take credit for that when it's more complex than that. It's more of like cultural shifts, legal shifts in the sense of what marriage is, workplace protections. I think that they just like to take credit for those things. So I just think it's not a good argument.
Well, they take credit because they were the ones that pushed for it, right?
They were not. No, I don't.
No one really gave a shit about sexual harassment in the workplace until.
I thought most of the
it certainly wasn't guys bringing it up, right?
It's actually men that passed it. So men passed those laws to outlaw everything you just said. So false.
But that's actually, and I'll kind of push back a little bit to you, Taylor, only because that's like a patriarchy, like pro-patriarchy stance, is that like feminists, they're running the HR, they want women in the workplace. All they do is HR, and then all they do is it's sexual assault, this, that, or another. Like everybody has to be nice to each other, and they actually blame women being in the workforce and the HR that's like in the way of men. That's a talking point I've heard quite often, is that they don't want women in the workforce because the HR and the dealing with the sexual assault and so on and so forth in the workforce.
Yeah, that's a wrong position to have. I don't think all men have that. And I don't actually think, like, if we had to talk about like what patriarchy is, I think people are like using this term of like, that's a patriarchal idea. I think all patriarchy is claiming is that society is run by and enforced by men. And that is just the reality of our society right now. To his point, the courts that decided all the things he said were ultimately men. Like for marital rape, essentially, like rape was always illegal. It was always just kind of difficult to prove within marriages. So I think feminists kind of just hopped on that. When there was like one famous legal proceeding around that, and then that started a conversation which both men and women supported a specific law that outlawed marital rape. So again, I think what we see a lot is feminists kind of jumping on bandwagons and trends of, you know, just what turns out to be progressivism in general. I don't credit feminists to anything he said.
Effigy, any thoughts?
Well, those two things are intertwined completely. But no, I'll wait for the panel.
Things?
Feminism and progressivism.
Sure, but I don't mean progressivism in like the leftist sense. I just mean like progress in laws and how we kind of reframe like legal documents, things like that. Like just as time goes on, I just mean like progress, not even like leftism, progressivism.
I'm good.
Okay.
Wait to the panel.
Fair enough. All right, Duck, to you, please. You are muted, sir.
There
you go.
Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. We're doing just no fault divorce. Hi, Taylor.
Anything feminism, but sure, you can do no fault divorce. Hey.
Hi. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I'll just mention this and then maybe say something more substantive, and yeah, whatever you want to take or kind of dish off. But yeah, I'll say with no fault divorce, the one point I will give credit for to sort of the black pill or red pill space is that it does seem weird that you have a family that may be separating, and suddenly you do have this notion of justice and injustice entering a marriage, entering a human relationship. And so there's certainly something to be said for that when there are financial responsibilities and stuff. But it also sounds very strange that, you know, the same thing that describes Emmett Till is in a marriage. But yeah, by and large, you know, I consider myself a feminist. I think that there's a difference between scholasticism and actually, not being like a troll, not being like a feminist, sort of, advocate. I would say like being highly cognizant of places in society where women don't have a fair shot, and there's exclusive spaces and stuff that end up opening up as a result. So that's what I would ask.
What's your specific question? Just
yeah,
that
you lost me too, Doc.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I mean, does in your view, does like the legalization or legalism of it, does this change your perspective on or limit or guide sort of where you might define feminism as being either good or harmful as a subset of a worldview?
The legalization of what exactly?
Just like legalisms in general, government. So government is in your marriage, right? Or like it is the case that if women don't have a fair shot in the workplace, that then like those types of things would be brought up again, those types of things.
Sure. So
well.
I think like progress within the law, when we see things like Title IX and things like that, again, like I don't even really credit feminism for a lot of those things. And even if I did, the feminism I'm kind of critiquing right now is the kind of like Marxist idea that there is no hierarchy, that there, especially within like a family, that men and women are completely the same and that they have the same roles. The pro-abortion, free sex kind of feminism. And I don't see a lot of, I think, the kind of rights that you're talking about, or, legal proceedings, I think rely a lot on framing, can a lot of the times just be attributed to like the technological age and just progress in general. I don't think that feminism can take the credit for a lot of that stuff.
Okay. I mean, I disagree. I disagree for the reason that, I mean, we can start with women's suffrage, but we can extend this all the way through to employment law. And then actually tracking measurable outcomes with women taking public office, women taking board, advisory, executive roles, management roles. If you're probably way more knowledgeable on Title IX than I am, and so seeing that there's something that fell short of authentic inclusion, but in general was still disclusive in terms of it did nothing to prioritize values other than just like saying, well, guys, you can be loud, you can be a huge asshole, you get away with a lot more. And generally, if you substantively hurt someone else's life in a way that is not related to like property law, there's no consequence in the United States for just being a dick, right? For not being a very conscious person. And so I disagree. I think the law played a larger role. The fact that feminism may have been absent a broader social, moral conversation is not a knock on feminism itself either. Feminism is a rich space.
I guess it just, again, like the terms are so nebulous to me, and I think that's maybe one of my criticisms of feminism in general, is that they just kind of take credit for any like moral progressivism in general of women, and I kind of reject that. And I think a lot of feminists wouldn't even align with your own definition of feminism. And even as Sarah and I were talking
what about
this,
Taylor? What about this? What about this? So, so women have different opinions than Donald Trump. That if you are a parent and your child is in public school with a specialized education plan, you shouldn't be thrown in a fucking detention facility, right? Like those types of, these are the types of things I was kind of referencing.
And you think feminism has some is what? Like how has feminism helped or hurt that? What's your
I think I would think that that's a very valid question to ask female voters, right? And to shape a public discussion around people who have had kids with special needs in schools, irrespective of their immigration status, right? To me, like that's an example of where feminism drives a national political question.
No, I think that's a larger, broader issue just on immigration policies in general, what it sounds like you're talking about. I'm not sure that has anything to do with feminism. I think this is actually what feminists do, is what you're doing right now, is saying that every issue that affects a child or affects a female has to do with feminism, and it's just false. So I think that just in general, that's a separate discussion, what you're talking about. I
mean, 6-7, I don't know. I'll cede my time because I think you did an awesome job answering. Thank you, Taylor, so much. And I'll also just say that maybe we didn't identify something substantive to agree or disagree on, right? But I'm sure we will as the sort of night evolves and the whatnot.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Thank you. Mrs. Balderson, I'll hand it to you.
Am I still echoing or am I better?
Slightly, but I'll just move my mouth further away from my mic, and it seems to do better that way.
Okay. Taylor, I don't really have a whole lot that I disagree with you with. I love being married in a traditional relationship. I'm happy with the roles that we have. I also just wanted to say hi to Ghosty and Effigy. I'm glad to see both of you. I was really hoping that especially you, Ghosty, would be here tonight. So aside from that, thank you for joining us.
I was like, Ghosty, you have to get on this one.
I was hoping she would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And actually, because I know, Taylor, you have a hard out pretty soon. So I wanted to give Ghosty the opportunity to kick back on her other thoughts before we move into full open floor.
Okay, so I wrote down some points as I was listening. So tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like in your perfect world, because you mentioned that women are spending a lot of their time in their early 20s, like following careers and not getting into serious relationships and having children and stuff. Mm-hmm. So in your ideal world, it seems like women would probably marry like their first or second boyfriend, like marry kind of early on, get married, have children at a young age, and ideally be religious. And we see a lot of religious relationships tend to get married more quickly than others. One of reasons is because they can't mate until, I don't know why I said mate, they can't have sex until they get married, and there's other reasons for that. They want to start having children and stuff like that. So you said that single women and women in non-marital relationships are the most abused. But if we went to that ideal world of yours, wouldn't these women end up just marrying these abusers instead? So like you're not dating them long enough to find out that they're an abuser, and now you're married to them and then if you don't have no fault divorce, you need to provide actual evidence in court to actually leave them, instead of just being able to leave them without a reason. It's less traumatic, it's easier. So it kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah. I guess I think what we're gonna see is if we enter in my ideal world where both parties are religious, both parties kind of have the end goal of having children and being married. Like, I would say in general, it's like, if you get in your car, right? Like, there's a certain percentage of people that get into car accidents, right? But if you take safety precautions, like wearing your seatbelt, or you don't drink and drive, or you don't drive at certain times, you're less likely to get in a car crash. So I see marrying a good man the same way, where it's like, yeah, if you're like dating around and you're just like dating men, like, I think we all kind of have this intuition of maybe why women that date around are victims of domestic violence more, because it's a certain pool of men that you're kind of fishing from, right? And so if you take the precautions of like, okay, this man shares my values, he is religious, he also wants a family, I think in the statistics show that your chances of being abused go down. Obviously, I want no one to be abused. I want no one to be, I genuinely think that women are safest when they are in a married situation. That's what the statistics show us. And I think it makes sense. And I think, yes, that women, just if I'm painting my ideal world, I'm not saying they graduate high school and get married. I'm all for women, like, go to college if you want. Go to college and get an education. But marriage and children should be, I think, your highest priority, and then everything else should come secondary. You don't have to marry your first boyfriend. People can date. I'm just against sex outside of marriage. I don't think that we should be sleeping around. I don't think that's good for anybody. But yeah, like, make sure you have a good man. Like, I think we can trust women to have like the discernment and the judgment to find good men. And I think there's a lot of good men out there.
Well, can I piggyback off of that too, actually, if you don't mind, Ghosty?
Yeah, of course.
And Taylor and I kind of tapped in on this about having your family on the same block, right? The Italians, the Greeks, like, they do this, right? And in that instance, a woman would have the men of her family surrounding her, and other men who are pursuing her to date know that if they mess with her and hurt her feelings, there's like 10 really big dudes that are ready to come pound his face in if they do her wrong, right? And that's a piece that I think where we went wrong. If I leave and I'm away from my family where there are men there who can protect me from other men, then I have no access point for a safety or like protection at all costs, right? Not only that, I think we're also, like, if we go and get in bed with a man and he hasn't even met our dad first, right? Well, how do we even know that dad approves? Now, not to say, oh, you always have to get your dad's permission, but I like that. I like the idea of introducing a man to either my father or my brothers or the men that I trust in my life, because I want them to like, I'm a girl, I'm twinkly eyed and googly faced and looking at him like, it's such a hunk, I want them to shake his hand and tell me if he's a man. I want them to look him in the eyes and tell me what they know, right? Because they are a man, they know men. Right. And that's the piece where we went away from. Ghosty, we're not having men ask our fathers if they can date us anymore. Instead, we're dating them and trying them out and then saying, oh, well, now that we've been dating and boning for the last 6 months, I kind of like you. And now I'm going to bring you home to my family and let you meet them, because I wouldn't have wanted to introduce you before that. Right. That's where the switch is. And that's why we're dating crappy men or experiencing crappy things when we're dating or so on and so forth, because we don't have that threat behind it anymore.
Sure. I mean, that's if like the men in her life find out, because a lot of abuse victims don't want to tell their families in general. But like, my point is that the statistics are going to show that women dating are going to have higher levels of abuse because they're not marrying their abusers before they actually get to know them. And like, this is just a personal experience, but my first boyfriend was very Christian. My mom approved of him. My dad wasn't in my life, but my mom approved of him, and he pushed me down the stairs, literally, and he hit me a few times, and I left shortly after that. But like, I thought he was a Christian guy. We dated for a year before he did that. So if people are, and I was like 18, so but say I was a little older and I ended up marrying him within that first year and that ends up happening, then I think the rates are going to start not just being women in women just dating. I think my whole point is that that's why the rates probably show that women dating and not married have higher likelihood of abuse. And I think changing that, going back to that other world, would change those statistics. That was my point about that. Do you want to comment, or should I move on to my next point?
Yeah.
Oops.
Someone's echoing.
Sorry, it's sorry, it's stuck. Duck came in.
No worries. Yeah, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. That's awful. And I think that we need to have really high standards for men and for women. And so again, like I think we can take these kind of anecdotes and apply them to like the worst case scenario and say, well, what if I marry someone that's like, I don't know, a serial killer? And I don't know. Again, like I think we need to talk about the whole and not the exceptions about what is best for like society, what is ultimately best for women. You know, there are awful situations, and even within before no fault divorce, obviously getting pushed down the stairs is fault. So, you know, and there were people that you would get separated before the divorce was finalized. Like I want women,
if you had evidence, right? You would
well,
need
the ultimate divorce, like maybe, but even now it's like people get into tricky situations with that, just as far as like when you do file for ultimately force and like who gets money, who gets children, things like that. Like things are going to be tricky, and that maybe just is an argument for like a better legal structure that and instead of like just throwing out everything and saying, okay, women can just leave, you know. And so again, like I'm all for keeping women safe. That is great. I just think the statistics show that they are not safe when they're just like sleeping around. And you know, like Sarah was saying, when they're just like on their own in a big city and just like meeting strange men, and you know,
I don't know how many women are like getting abused with like one night stand partners though.
I think the rates of like sexual assault go up.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Habits. Yeah, that's kind of the stat I'm talking about. So, yeah, I mean, again, I want to hold men to just the highest standard as I'm holding to women, which includes like being good men and not being violent. And obviously, there's evil people in the world, and we cannot account for every situation. That's going to happen for women or for children. But I think ultimately just what we see is women are happier and they're safer when they have their husbands in the home. And I also, for children, a lot, that's really my main thing is that children are much safer with their biological parents.
Okay. All right, I'll move on to my next point. All right, so I believe that, so you talked about feminism or feminists being extremely materialistic. I believe that feminism allows you to marry for love rather than materialism. I think that when women have to date for, I mean, I guess you're fine with women working and stuff, so this might be irrelevant, but like in the ideal traditional world where women are staying at home and stuff, they're going to need a man who makes enough money to support her and her children, and therefore she's not going, like, if there's somebody who makes a little bit less money or something, she's not going to be able to be with him. So I think in a feminist world where women are able to support themselves, that gives them the ability to marry and love anybody pretty much.
Yeah, I spoke a little with Sarah about this, about how there are multiple factors, but I think one of them is women flooding the workforce, where we have lower wages now. But I talk to many women who are mothers, including myself, that wish they could stay home and be stay-at-home mothers, but they can't because they can't afford it. And I think that shows us that now women have less choice. I think feminism promised women all the choices, and you're talking about having all these choices, but I think a lot of women that are mothers that want to stay home with their very young children feel forced to go back to work after like a crazy 6-week maternity leave or something, and they have to go back to work. So I think that's very bad. And I'm all for restructuring that. Again, I'm not going to completely blame feminism for that, but I do think it has something to do with it. But I think what you're talking about is like back in the day, like you could survive off of a one, income household. So you didn't necessarily have to like marry for money or whatever. And when I talk about materialism, it's also just kind of about what makes me happy. What is my like biggest, fulfillment? Like it is ultimately about money. And I don't see the feminist talking point saying, well, I'm going to make so much money so then I can have a kid and have a family. I see it as, well, I'm going to make a bunch of money so I can travel and I can have a bigger apartment in a better city. So maybe that's more the materialism I'm talking about, not just purely money, because I don't think money in and of itself is like immoral. I think that when it's our kind of highest good, that's when it becomes immoral.
Okay. First of all, feminists do fight for materialism, and conservatives constantly are, what did I say?
Fight for
Maternity.
Okay.
Maternity leave is what I meant to say. I was like, I got that wrong. Feminists constantly fight for maternity leave, and conservatives always want to shut us down on that.
I see a lot of conservatives, actually, especially a lot of pro-life women, actually fighting pretty hard for better maternity leave and things like that. So
okay, that would be nice. I think that would promote families a lot more. I'm also like for a little bit of paternity leave too, if we can get that far eventually.
Sure.
But
as long as we're in a 2-income household, if like that's the structure we're in, like best case scenario, women can stay at home. If that's not possible, then sure. Like I want to see like years of maternity leave, like if that's possible for women.
Yeah, and lots of countries have that. Like lots of countries have like a year or 2 maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
That's normal for a lot of countries. But oh my god, I just lost my thought. My brain is like everywhere tonight. Hold on. What were we just talking about? Maternity leave. Well, maybe it'll.
Yeah, materialism.
Oh, the materialism. I literally just had it. Hold on. I don't know. I forget now. To be honest.
That's all right. I do know, Taylor, you have a hard out at 11. I'm assuming you're East Coast time
I'll
as
give
well,
it.
right?
I'll give it like 10 more minutes if anyone else like wanted to jump in. I'll
somebody else jump in.
Can I ask one more question? I have a little more formulated.
Hold on, Doc. Hold on, Doc. Hold on.
Thanks, Husky.
Spin actually wanted to ask his question because he had passed on his turn earlier. So Spin, go ahead with your question.
Okay, so Ghosty, you were talking about abuse and being pushed down the stairs. Yes.
Hold on. Are you asking Taylor the question or Ghosty the question?
It's both. It's both. Would you both, Taylor and Ghosty, say an argument could be abuse?
Sorry, like a verbal argument, like between
a verbal argument without any type of physical element.
Probably not. No.
Yes, I believe in verbal abuse.
Too subjective for me. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think he's trying to prove a point of like the kind of cry. You know, it's abuse, especially like emotional abuse, verbal abuse, can be very subjective, and cause kind of problems.
It can be, but it can cause like problems to the point where it's not good for children, it's not good for the relationship, and if we're forcing people to stay together, this is why I believe in no-fault divorce, because some of these problems are going to be very hard to prove. So why would we force people to stay together if somebody is literally verbally abusing somebody to the point every single day in their ear, constantly tearing them down? Like it's all negative, nothing supportive at all. Like it's verbally violent. Like that's the best way I can describe it. No one should live like that.
So basically what you're alluding to is if I called you dumb, right?
No, that's not.
That's abuse.
No, that's not alone verbal abuse. No. It's a repetitive
Context.
It's a repetitive thing that happens.
But
yeah,
but where I got you is you said that a verbal abuse. So you would know that if you're dumb or not, right? That's hurtful, which is abuse.
Not necessarily. You can insult somebody and then you can apologize.
Ben, you prove every day that people don't know that they're dumb.
Okay. I yield, Sarah.
Yeah, I think also like maybe a point that he's trying to make, and go see what you're saying too, is like I always go back, like, okay, like what should marriage be like? Because I'm a Catholic, so I come from a religious perspective where marriage is a very serious covenant, and so when you're entering into it, you are in it for, you know, richer or poor, through good times and bad times. So yeah, like if one partner is like berating you and being really nasty, like I think the kind of norm now is to just jump ship and be like, oh, I'm not happy. You're making me feel bad about myself. And while those things can be very painful, and I've been in some like bad relationships, I think when you enter in willingly into the covenant of marriage, you are agreeing to work it out. And especially when there's children involved, I don't think divorce should be the first option. And I think the proliferation of divorce in this culture has kind of normalized just jumping ship as soon as things get difficult. And so, yeah, if someone's being, nasty to you or whatever, you should work through it and be there for them. And that should be the first instinct. Even through like adultery, I think you should probably try to work through that before divorce. So it's more of a cultural shift, I think, for me than just a strict like legality situation.
I don't
And
think
Taylor,
most
I share
marriages-
your Catholic values. I am Catholic myself. Most people that I know of, I'm sure there's many more people that I don't know, always think divorce, separation, or getting the shit beat out of them by the family, which you touched on, is the way of the practice of life. Absolutely not. Taylor, are you married, by the way?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Okay. Ghosty, are you married?
No, I'm in a relationship. I'm not married.
Okay. So have you ever been married, Ghosty?
No.
Taylor, have you ever been married?
No, I have not.
Okay. All right. So the holy sacrament of marriage is a bond, would you say? For rich or for poor, for good and bad. Would you say that, Taylor?
Yes, I would.
So an argument, you haven't, I guess I want to circle back to my point. Having a verbal argument between two people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can men and women fight equally when it is verbal? A better structured question.
Sure.
Okay, does it mean a man or a woman, or woman a woman, or a man and a man? I mean, in today's society, unfortunately, we have to ask the questions in all
Yes, men and
tenses.
women are on equal grounds when it comes to verbal arguments. What's your point? Having an argument isn't verbal
My
abuse,
point
if
is,
that's what you're trying to say.
You
Having
are
the bigger
saying
mouth
it's
doesn't matter, I
abuse.
guess.
Hold on. Go ahead, Spin.
What you're saying is verbal abuse is grounds for divorce.
Yes.
In your statement, that is what you said.
Yes, verbal abuse does not equal one argument or arguments here and there.
Okay, so when you go to court, here's I'm going to land the point, Sarah. When you go to court and you say, he called me stupid one too many times, do you think that you will either be laughed out of the courtroom or granted a divorce?
I don't know if that's what verbal abuse is, what she means by verbal abuse.
She said it was, Sarah.
Well, what I'm saying is I think that there comes a point where there is a manipulation tactic. There's other ways in which people can be verbally abusive, right? And I mean, I personally wouldn't want to stick around with a spouse who thinks I'm stupid and an idiot and so on and so forth, because respect comes with part of a relationship as well. And even the church recognizes that too, right? So why would I want to be with somebody who thinks so lowly of me? Why would they even marry me if they think so
Sarah.
lowly of me?
Right, Sarah. I'm just trying to impeach her because you're right. You're absolutely right. There is a bigger, she's correct. When there is abuse can mean a lot of different things, but abuse is a very broad term. It is what you feel that is abuse. Would you agree?
Well, no, I think there's a standard. I think there's a standard level of abuse and what it means, like legally.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you fight equally, how would that constitute?
Not everyone has the ability to fight back verbally. I mean, even I take verbal beatings online here. Everyone here takes verbal beatings, right? Taylor, I'm sure, being a female, Ghosty being a female in this space,
I take it all the time.
Right.
I take it all the time.
Right. But not everybody's willing to fight back verbally. Not everybody wants to, and not everybody.
Can I give you an example, Sarah? Can I give you an example?
Here's where
I called you stupid. You called me stupid.
We go.
Yeah,
would you not
I was going to say
that would be equitable?
Well, now we're debating whether verbal abuse would be calling someone stupid or not,
But
and I don't know.
But I don't.
That's
her
just
argument.
Two people arguing whether if two people are equally being as disrespectful to each other. I mean, I guess you could.
No one gives a fuck about your feelings.
They're both verbally abusing each other, but it's not. That wouldn't be like one-sided. So I don't know. Like, that's
well, let me let Husky jump in real quick. Did you have your question ready? Because Taylor has to leave here in just a minute.
Taylor, it was nice to meet you, and I wish you had more time.
Yes, me too. Sorry, guys, it's late over here. I'm on the East Coast.
It's 11:09 for me.
Go ahead, Husky.
I'm in Florida.
Quickly.
My biggest question is: Would you agree that that feminism as a collective kind of stunts the mental growth of a lot of young women?
Yes.
Due to the kind of toxic nature of it, not exactly the rights as such or anything political about it as a whole, just the kind of nature of the people that back it publicly.
Yes. I mean, I think feminism tends to have very low expectations of women in general. I think it coddles women. I think it ultimately removes duty from them, so it doesn't give them something to strive towards. And so, yes, I think women are stunted and they're babied, and they're just kind of validated on everything. And yeah, it's really dumb. It's kind of right now, especially in its current form, just made up of a bunch of slogans that they repeat, and there's not much thought or intellect behind it, and it's quite awful.
In my industry, there's not much thought or intellect in the men I work with anyway, but
sure.
No, I see your point.
Fair enough.
That's pretty much.
Can I ask one question before you bounce, Taylor? Can I ask one quick question before you bounce?
That's totally up to you, Taylor.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So I was just wondering for some context or something like this, if it's the case that discussing things like feminism in the context of civil rights and liberties, even in democracies or something, right? So how did women get rights in democracies or something? But in that same context or something, just shouldn't we also have a little more middle ground than psychologicalizing or sort of searching for material context for just everything regarding feminism? I think we'd have solid foundations somewhere.
Can you give me an example of the kind of psychologizing, like what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, this came up on Sarah's panel, but yeah, it took 6 months. It took 6 months after the passing of women's suffrage for states to ratify it. And you still only have 36 states ratify it. And so I feel that even if you are not a feminist or anti-feminist, this was before modern feminism, seeing that 14 states, so 35% of the union, didn't believe women should have the right to vote. Like, to me, that is all the context I need, that if a woman can't show up one day a year to the ballot box, that feminism is talking about something very real, and it's something that's pervasive in societies.
Sure, I didn't really get into voting. Yeah, I didn't really get into voting in my opening, which I usually do, and I won't get into it too much since I am leaving and I don't want to open up a whole new can of worms. But I think the conversation around voting can be framed a little oddly as well by the feminists, because back when suffrage was happening, universal suffrage just wasn't a thing. Men only got the right to vote. All men only got the right to vote a few years before women. And a lot of women actually didn't want the vote, a majority of women. And this wasn't because they were like, oh, we don't want rights. It was because, they felt like they had all the rights that they needed, that they were well represented in politics. A lot of times they would lobby for, the causes that they cared about, because they were so in touch with the community and the family and the children, and they knew what they needed locally. So they really enjoyed their role in that sense. And they felt that they were much better suited to raise the men and the boys that would become voters. And they trusted their husbands. They didn't want to vote against their husbands. They wanted to vote with their husbands. So, again, we talked about I'm not interested in repealing the 19th. I don't think that's super advantageous. But again,
Taylor, I have a daughter. I just want to share. I have a daughter.
So do I.
And so, okay. And so you understand, if you have a daughter, there's a huge difference between the experience when she's a toddler or 3 or 4 versus when they're in grade school or middle school, right? And so the banana for scale for me is that we are talking about human beings in the world, and we're talking also about people taking time to learn things, and also we're talking about just bigotry and hatred that is just pervasive in our society. There's
I see
nothing
hatred
else.
from both sides. So I see hatred from men to women. I see hatred from women to men. I just see hate.
So
in
you
general.
reject violence. So you reject violence in all of its forms.
No. What reject how? What do I?
So
do
you're
I?
a violent person. So
What
you're a
she's
violent
saying,
person
what
telling me
she's
about
saying,
feminism.
Doc, and this is where I gave her the compliment earlier on, is she's very well balanced and rational in how she's making her argument. She's not saying all women bad. She's recognizing there are bad men. She's recognizing that society as a whole has faults. She's never once said like this is all women's fault. Women suck, right? Like you're mixing her up with our typical ortho bro talking points that are all like women bad, women suck, women get in kitchen, right? And she hasn't said that at all.
Sorry. That's
Right.
my bad.
So I
have
will
autism,
allow-
so I miss some of the context sometimes.
That's
Even
okay,
if I
Doc.
can understand and stick along with the conversation, I just think there's a lot of these learning points that happen across time. But these also, like, this isn't about just constructed social behavior. It's not about social norms. It's not about the mores, the limitations we set on ourselves for these reasons. And it's also not about negotiating values versus negotiating outcomes. Those are all different.
Doc, let's hold our tongue for
Totally
just a
get you.
minute. Taylor, I know you've had a long day at work and you
Thanks
are
so much,
obliging
guys.
us with your presence. So I do want to let you get home, get to bed, go get some rest. So if you want to say any final thoughts to anyone and get out of here, the floor is yours, my darling.
I just want to thank you guys so much for having me. Thanks, Sarah. Hope to be back and debate some more. Hopefully I'll have more time. And anyone on this panel currently that feels like they didn't get to chat properly, please just feel free to like DM me. I'm always happy to have a back and forth. And just follow my socials at TaylorIsOnline0. And I hope to be back soon. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, Taylor. We appreciate your time tonight.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. All righty. Okay. We are going to be able to continue the conversation because we have a little bit of everyone over here. I am still lagging. I'm going to turn my camera off for a second just so I could let everything else speed up. I'm going to kick off the gauntlet. I will take on Taylor's talking points. I think I know where she's coming from and what she wants to stand for. So if anybody wants to try to be a little combative in that, we can, I think I could still carry her points. And my apologies for the donos that came in because I wanted to get, I knew she had a hard time out. So I wanted to make sure everybody got their talking points. Iotin actually sends in over on the Buy Me a Coffee app, a big 25 bones and says, let's go. And again, and I'm going to cam up for this one. I want to send another big shout out to Iotin. She just got engaged today. Ladies, we lost another one to the patriarchy. They came, they snatched her up. They said, you'll be good woman. You take home, take to my cave, make babies. But we are so excited for her. She's got I think she said it'll be like another year and a half before the wedding and so on and so forth, which I think is beautiful. We're so excited to see that. If you want to see her lovely ring, it is over in the Discord chat. It's beautiful. I'm so excited. We're losing our baby Iotin. Our baby Iotin's growing all up. So I'm so excited for you, Iotin. Shout out to you. Tomatoes in the chat for Iotin. The Trib one comes in with the Big 10, says civil rights activism is what you're pushing against. Agency, recognition, and first-class citizenship from state is what you're pushing against. Do you disagree with that reality, Taylor? You want less. Actually, I want to let, because Effigy, I think you could speak a little more to this argument in terms of against Taylor. Do you want to add in on that piece?
Yeah, I mean, the entire point of my questioning was just basically to show that everyone agrees with a certain level of feminist thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're all just arguing about degrees. Everybody's got their line, it seems. Like some people will be all the way back down to let's take it all the way and go all the way back to the 19th Amendment. But most people are like, yeah, I agree with basic people having rights. It's just, these darn newfangled fifth wave feminists and their wacky shit, which we can agree that some new thought is wacky from our perspective. But when it comes down to rights, like we're gonna be fighting forever. And a lot of what you guys have been saying just sounds like a bunch of turn back the clock shit. Oh, I wish it were the 50s again, those squeaky clean 50s. It's a fiction, it's a lie. It was never that. There is no monolith on any group in the US, not half the country. No one thinks the same. And that's the best thing about it, right? Is like in the feminist world, you can still be a trad wife if you want to be. In the trad wife's world, you can't be the opposite, right? Because you guys like to talk about like we're going to instill this. So yeah, it comes down to rights, and I'll always be against people who are trying to take away other people's rights.
I would actually my pushback would be I wouldn't want the beautiful 1950s squeaky clean, right? I would actually push back to pre-industrialization or the Industrial Revolution. I would push back to homesteading. I would push back even further. And that would be like my answer to fix this problem would be homesteading.
Literally impossible, though. You realize what the population was when we were homesteaders?
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that, but I think like
8 billion people here now.
I think that is the piece of it, right? We are now forced to rely on more of our surroundings than we are of ourselves, right? And we are not the producers of our home life. We're not we just produce money, and then that money gets us whatever we need or want. And I think that's the caveat.
That's humiliating, though. That's humiliating. It takes away the sort of masculinity, the sculinity aspect that we can take care of ourselves, not just live off the land, but we can go find the most and take the most of what a society has to offer. I don't think that we should fix ourselves because, like, right, I don't believe feminism extends itself to fixing ourselves to becoming false versions, inauthentic. If there's an authentic version of ourselves in there somewhere, then like that's also cool.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah, but I don't think that has to do with feminism. It has to do more with people losing purpose. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say it's not a personal problem.
It is a personal problem. It's a you problem, right? So all that stuff that you just said is you say, I want this, I want that, but that's a problem for you to fix. It's not a problem for me to fix. You're your own man. The women out here are their own women. If they feel I need to go get, well, that's something that they need to do, then go do it. But that's not something that you can impose on somebody else and say, hey, I'm entitled to you fixing my problem. You understand that?
But Clay, the difference is I do think you and I have agreed, and because you do the auditing thing, and so you and I have agreed to find not just our own problems, but problems for other people. And there is a point, an initial decision where we go fix those things. And that's not to say that this is preclusive.
No, you're confusing why
you're not. There's no flair with how you do it, though, right? If you take on this feminized version of, well, I still have to wait for the people.
Well, the reason I do it isn't out of obligation.
Version of it.
The reason I do it isn't out of obligation. It's because I want to live in a decent world. So that's why I do it. I have no duty or obligation to anyone, just as the government has no duty or obligation to anyone. This is the way it is. But in reference to the super chat, what I'm going to say, hold on, because I want to say something about this.
Go ahead, Clay.
So this point here really has to do with equal application of the law, right? So every one of us are out here living in this world. We happen to live in a country where equal application of the law ought be the thing. So if somebody breaks the law and then another person breaks the same law, then the application of that law should be the same. Of course, we have sentencing guidelines according to how they feel about it, and that's what the whole trial is about. But the application of the law, right? So if someone says, hey, I want to exercise my right or take this privilege that I have or this benefit that I have, and then somebody else does the same and they don't get that privilege, they don't get that benefit, i.e. voting, right? That's a right, it's a privilege, it's a benefit. Then the recognition here is that there's somebody standing in the way, whether it be a government or actor or someone just a regular citizen, regular Joe Schmo, somebody standing in the way of the free exercise thereof. which means that there should be a punishment of that one who's standing in the way. So this first-class citizenship belongs to each one of us, regardless of our citizenship status.
And let me interrupt here on this for just a moment. We're going to continue through the super chats, but I have officially launched off the gauntlet. So please start making your way over. I've dropped the link into the live chat, but also I'm going to shut down the Raging Tomato and raid over from there. So feel free to start moving now or catch the wave raid over. Thank you so kindly. Okay. Let's see. Well, it always takes a second to do that. Okay. Trib1 comes in with a big 5. Men are failing much more than women when it comes to parenthood. Men are failing much more than men when it comes to being a fully functioning adult. Now, I'll give Taylor credit because she kept the well-balanced act here. And she was very, I would say, like reasonable, and she recognized that okay, men are still fucking up just as much as women are, right? So this, like, she was again, she never said like this is all women's fault, women bad. She recognized that men are doing poorly in society as well. But does anybody
saying, Sarah? Is this saying that men men are too dumb to do this, or that
says this of a trust fund baby? You've never worked in a day of your fucking life.
Yeah. So I'm just curious though, like if we're finding the balance between throwing the gauntlet down for men to be to take fatherhood seriously, to enjoy the time.
Where's your kid now,
things
Duck?
we do in the short term.
Don't go into his
Scott,
personal
if you
life.
mention a fucking thing about my kid.
Yeah,
you
let's not
Wait a minute. You're up here. You're up
bitch.
here about feminism and children.
Fuck you. You fucking bitch. Suck my fucking dick, Scott. You fucking bitch.
Yeah, let's stop.
I wasn't going in. I wasn't saying anything about his kid.
Well, you just said it. Spin, you literally just said, where's your
No,
kid?
he's up here talking about women and children and all this other stuff.
But
He
what's
just
that
said
have to
it.
do with him? Stick with the hypothetical. Okay, let me teach you one thing, Scott.
It might be a hypothetical.
One key factor that I think would help learn you a little bit here, okay? Instead of attacking somebody's personal life directly, move in hypotheticals. If you move in hypothetical, you're not attacking them directly. You're not attacking their family, their lifestyle, or anything. You can maneuver it and say, okay, Doc, I hear what you're saying. What if there was a man who claims X, Y, and Z, but also doesn't have their kids aside from once a month or something, right? Now he can still answer to the question, but it's not a personal attack on him or his family or his children.
Meant that, Sarah.
But it
wasn't
is.
Meant that.
How do you expect somebody to take that? Where's your kid? Where's your kid? How do you expect somebody to take that?
It's a question.
No, it's a personal attack.
Okay, I'll restructure it.
Okay, work in hypotheticals. You'll get way further and get way better responses, and you can still call them out without actually directly personally attacking them. Does that make sense?
Yep, I'll restructure it.
Best way to work around it. All right.
I'll restructure it.
Trib1 says, I get that men have woke that shames them, but anti-woke is weird in my opinion. Shaming one side for not being good enough doesn't work. Push what works instead. I think we could all agree, Trib, that we want fathers to get back into their children's lives. I think we want them to be positive role models for their children. I think that's also a big piece behind that paired with feminism. And Taylor called this out. She said, I think that feminism allowed men to go and be pieces of shit and not be shamed for it, right? Because it's like, oh, well, she's a big boss lady. She's a female. She could take care of it. She could do her own thing, right? She's Miss Independent, but you know what that means, right? And so what she's saying is feminism allowed men to act this way and allowed, women to, well, you said you're a big girl, handle it, right?
But you're looking at this one-sided, right? So, like, you're only looking at it from the view of couples that have split. Feminism has allowed couples that stay together to parent better, because now that women are in the workforce, fathers have to learn how to actually be around their kids more. Whereas the dynamic before was that fathers were always away working. I mean, I grew up as a kid whose dad was an interstate truck driver. So, you know, when I was young, my dad was gone for like a week at a time. So people who have that kind of split double job situation, the fathers will have a chance to see their children more often because they're not working every single moment of their life to provide. So you could argue that it actually helps fathers' relationships in those families that stay together. Because it seems like your example is specifically for couples that break up.
Well, not even couples that break up. You could even go down the route of boy and girl have sex, girl gets knocked up, boy was nothing to do with child.
I mean, that's always happened though. Like, right?
But that's still a relationship, Sarah, even if it's one night.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're
that's
together,
always happened
together.
back in the 1800s, back in the like that has happened throughout all of history. People sleeping around, people cheating. That's always been a thing.
Right, and that's where we've come up with the concept of the shotgun wedding, right? Like, you will marry her, and I will hold a shotgun to your back until you do. Right, I'll shotgun back to your back on the way up the aisle. You will marry my daughter now that you've impregnated her. Right. We had the theory of like, you got to do what's right. But see, we've lost that concept. Like, I got to do what's right. And it's rare to hear men say that anymore. Or I mean, probably in the last 10 years specifically, I've seen a lot of that. I'd say even last 20, where it's, I don't have to do what's right. I don't have to be a dad. Like, she can raise the child, right?
Yeah,
I think it can go both ways. I think it's what Taylor was implying was that feminism allowed it to work both ways, and both ways work negatively for the child overall.
I think there's like a lot of situations that we don't hear about often because they were often hidden from the public, but there were a lot more abortions like before even abortion was illegal than people like to think about. They would just do it in private, in secrecy, and not tell anybody, and it was often like very dangerous ways. So like,
but abortion is not illegal.
Back in the day, it
was at one time. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I misheard what she said.
I'm saying like back in the day, like people will say like before abortions, like I think lots of times we idealize the past, and it really isn't. I don't think it's that much different from today.
Actually, a really
that's what you're saying. Abortion was well and truly frowned upon / illegal back in the day, because my mum in England, her mother was sent to Ireland to have the baby and put it up for adoption because the parents weren't married.
People would do situations like that.
Yeah.
Like there were ways to get out of these situations that people didn't talk about a lot.
And they were deadly too.
Yes.
Right. But those were other solutions, right? Not just leave it to mom to raise child. Right. Dad, So, and it was a shame on the family if your daughter got knocked up and wasn't married. Yeah. Right. So that was
they were also very different days where it wasn't just the parents' decision or that couple's decision. It was a collective decision about everyone in their life as well. Mm-hmm. The whole family generally had a say in everything, and they would have barely a fucking say because, well, okay, in that case, fuck you. Like they would get genuinely punished about it, and like every country is different, but they would have their own ways. And in, I think, England, correct me if I'm wrong, it was something like jail. They'd get sent to Australia in those days. I don't fucking know.
Fair enough. Iotin says, shouldn't women should be what? shouldn't women, I'm guessing, be allowed to just leave? And I mean, essentially, we always technically kind of have been, and it's just a matter of whether your family took care of the situation, the men of your community took care of the situation, so on and so forth. And there's different variations built into that.
Can I comment on that super chat, Sarah?
Sure.
Women and men alike have the right to leave. I mean, if you come down, and Sarah, you may agree with this given your past profession, there is a criminal aspect to that if one would be forced to stay. But everybody has the right to leave. You can't hold somebody against their will. You know, pardon?
Now, women couldn't just exit a marriage before certain kinds of divorce existed.
I'm not saying in a legal aspect. I'm talking in a physical aspect.
Okay, but where is she going to go?
Yeah.
You don't think there were men that would basically tell their wives you can't leave?
Okay, that's words.
You think it would end it
There's
just words?
actions, generally.
It's kind of naive, right?
So it might be just words, but what they're talking about is a time when women didn't necessarily have like career opportunities where they could go out and provide really well for themselves. They didn't necessarily have money that they could draw on. To
Okay,
go
Mrs. Balderson put in that context. That could be true, but you can't hold somebody against their will.
What if, I mean, if she has children and he's keeping the children, like
He's
she just gonna
keeping the
leave?
children. That is physical.
Well, they're married and the children live in that
marriage
house.
license. That marriage license does not constitute property.
If the children live in that home, like
technically it used
Thanks
to.
to what?
It used to.
Thanks to what?
But this is where I was going to go with this. So
Okay.
the contract, right? So if
For
it's a
semantics.
contract,
For semantics, Sarah, you and I got married. You, in some context, you're my property.
Yeah, that's how it used
here's
to
a
be
hypothetical.
deemed. But Joe, I heard you trying to chime in there. I wanted to hand it to you if you wanted to go.
Yeah. I was wondering if I don't think my mic was working. I was going to say in a way it is phrased, the spin is right. It says, should they be allowed to just leave? I think if you're answering the spirit of the question, it does say that there is something that should you force them to stay in some type of way, not the things you are talking about. Naturally, you can't leave because you don't have the resources, the money, the man was bred. Outside of that, it still seems like they're being forced against their will. And will you allow them to leave? I think they've always been allowed. It's just weren't able.
no, that's not the spirit of the question. The spirit of the question is the allowance. It's literally in there. It says be allowed to leave.
I said that allowed is the spirit of the question. I said that. I thought.
Yes, and that is what I was responding to. You do not need permission to leave.
No, you do.
I will use the semantic of.
You absolutely do. There's a contract.
Let me land it, Brick. Let me use the semantic of a job. So you go to the interview, you get hired, but you're not allowed to leave until 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah, you're allowed to leave under condition.
But you could.
Yeah, you could. You just might not have
This is what I'm saying.
You won't get
You might not have a job. You might not get paid. Depends on if you're salary or hourly. But I mean, nobody is going to stop you from leaving.
Sarah, let's circle back to a marriage or a relationship. So you court, you marry, maybe not even marry. What is telling you, other than some peripheral circumstance of, hey, I don't have anywhere to go?
Contract.
But I'm saying even without the contract, Brick.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The marriage is like
You're a legal entity. When you get married, you're a legal entity. That's why when you get divorced, things get liquidated and split the way they would for two business partners.
Also, if she took the children with her, I'm pretty sure legally it could be considered kidnapping. Like if you don't go through the courts.
Very much
Yes,
depends on country.
yeah, and I actually
place.
don't think it is because if there's no system, like for instance, if you, this is why I tell any girls and guys who have a boyfriend or girlfriend and they have kids together, I always tell them, look, I know everything's amicable now and you're nice to each other now and life's good and great, but you need to get an actual court order with your current family rights between you and the father, because at any given moment they literally could pick that child up and go because there's no court order saying otherwise. So
and for legal purposes, in most states that I looked into, I went through a divorce before marrying Aunt. If I took my son across state lines without anything, that was considered kidnapping. Yeah. You could not leave the state.
I thought it was something similar. Now you can't take a residence with him to another state, and I think that would be illegal now under most law.
No.
Yeah.
No.
There are cases of this all the time. I follow them.
That's
parents take off with their children and don't tell the other parent, and they report them.
It sounds illegal, and they leave the state. Sounds as legal as fuck without going through something.
If there is no custody order,
you have to go through the states. If you are legally separated, you have to have temporary custody of your child if you go to get across state lines. Or it's considered kidnapping and the Amber Alerts go out.
No.
And if, yes.
It depends on the state and their laws.
No. Let me tell you the law. Okay.
Yeah, somebody Google something because just knows.
I don't have to Google it. I don't have to Google it.
Well, there is no the law. Ms. Paulson was right there. State laws.
Very much.
Can I land my point, please? I'll settle it.
I would love to know the point of this hypothetical.
It's not a hypothetical. It's fact. And Sarah would know. Sarah of all people would know. If there is no custody order and two people separate, right? Both parents have the same equal right to custody, correct? Would you agree? There is nothing that is dictated in the Constitution or the law that says that parent could not take those children out of the state or out of the home unless
and live in another state and live in another state. Is that what you're saying?
You get 8 different answers here.
You can.
And you're saying that's legal everywhere?
No.
I know I've seen that cases where that shit's not legal.
Let's go to Sarah. Sarah, would you please give me your opinion on what I just said, please?
I wasn't paying attention. I was busy doing
smart girl, Sarah. Smart girl.
I will say it again. I will say it again.
We're arguing about things that we weren't even talking about when you started the hypothetical.
Yeah, he's about to change it and add Sarah something we totally different than what we were talking about.
So, Scott, it varies state to state, laws regarding divorce and the way children are handled. And regardless of what laws there are, if your ex is pissed off enough at you to call the cops, do you really want to test whether or not you're legally taking your child across state lines?
I would.
That is a gamble that you...
It's a gamble.
I'm pretty sure even withholding your child from another parent without some kind of legal order.
Them? Who said I was?
Well, that's what we're talking about. Women being allowed to leave without going through divorce is leaving a situation and taking the children with her. I don't think you can just withhold children from their parents.
Google says generally that you cannot take it. Here, I'll read from Google. Generally, a parent cannot move a child to another state without the other parent's consent or a court order.
Yes.
In most of the states of the Midwest, and I know in Washington State, that is how it works.
In Australia as well, that's how it works. My dad actually got criminally charged for hiding my passport when I was young. It's that serious here.
And I had my ex-husband got pulled back from Utah with my son because he ran across state line to live with my son across.
But
the
you were legally separated though, Lone
No,
Wolf,
I
right?
was not.
No.
I was in the process, but not started.
Oh, okay.
So,
True Blood comes in with the big 5, says a good example of what verbal abuse looks like is the movie Whiplash. Whether you want to say the drummer got what he wanted or not doesn't negate it. Did anybody see that movie?
No,
I did, and
haven't.
that's a very good example. You just have to kind of watch it to get the point, but I agree.
Damn
All right,
drummer.
we'll take Husky's word for it. Carpenter Tom says, how do you sit there for 15 to 20 minutes without talking and still not have a formulated question you can express coherently?
See.
We know who that's for.
But I mean, this is so right. Like, not only that, you have a full hour of me giving, like, trying to pull out different angles. And there's, like, even Ghosty wrote down notes. She's like, hold on, I wrote something else down. Like, a Ghosty who came in very prepared. She knew, she's like, okay, like, here's what I want to ask her about. Right? Okay, that makes sense. But, like, even when you're not even first in line and you're like 5th on the list and you still can't figure it out.
But I had a fucking stroke.
I love you guys so much. And this is why. Carpenter Tom says with a big 20, this is why we love Tom, because he loves to put all my favorite colors up on the screen. He says, would love to hear the panel discuss what is a civil right. Bing, 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 bing. We're knocking on Clay's door. And I'll let Clay and Joe kick us off with these thoughts. But he says, for example, could I start a movement for equal rights for bald men? And would you support it? There's research supporting that we are prejudicially? Thank you. Treated. All right. Shout out to the bald men. And listen, particularly speaking, I love to rub bald men's heads, okay? Both of them. Go ahead, Clay. Kick us off. What is a civil right? Let's start there.
I'm going to give you my view of civil rights. Essentially, it is your right. It's a right. If you want a definition for what rights are, that's going to be a different thing.
Those protected under law. That'll make it easier for you.
I'm going to go refill my coffee. I'll be right back.
But it's a particular right that presents a process.
You can't define it, use it in itself. You can't say a right is a right.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, like, if you want a definition of a right, go to Andrew Wilson. Maybe you'll get something from him. But particularly a civil,
You won't get a word in there.
a civil right. It's a right.
No, it's a fundamental guarantee of equal treatment
Under the law.
under the law.
No.
Protected by the law. Yes, that's the distinction.
That's not what I was going to say at all. That's not at all what I was
Go
going
ahead.
to say.
Totally interested in your shit now.
Right.
Totally interested now, Brady. Yes, here.
That creates a process that prevents that right from reaching criminal court.
Civil rights is a process that keeps him from becoming criminal. Can you give me an example so I can get a better grasp of what you're saying?
Sure.
Just make sure we're not criminal.
So essentially, your rights that are.
Give me a cop watch example that I can hold on to.
A cop watch?
Yeah, civil rights. I'm out there filming. The guy violates my civil
Ohio
rights,
versus
and then
Mims.
Like a no.
Yeah, Ohio versus
something.
Terry. Mims versus Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Ohio versus.
So all of those have to deal with the criminal. Essentially, to go into Tom's point here, he is bald, right? So he has a right to film the police. They cannot criminalize.
Is he high or am I? What? I know I'm high, but I don't understand nothing you said so far. He's bald, so he has a right to film the police.
Well,
What
at least let him
the
say his point before you say it to
Yeah,
fucking.
just let him finish.
It's funny though.
You have to listen to get the information.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Joe, impeach him after he's done with his gibberish.
Okay, they cannot criminalize Tom for being bald because he is filming the police. That's your example.
That's supposed to make it easier for me. They can't criminalize him because he's bald and family. I don't know. I give up. I give up.
So it's basically they can't use the law against you based on a certain like characteristic
Civil
trait, like
characteristic. Yes. Yeah.
But he's flexing two rights, right? He's got the right to be bald, the right to be filmed. I mean, the right to film.
Most of your
and he
civil
can't
rights-
use one as rights against the other or something. I don't
it would be
understand what
like-
that means.
only
most-
black
I think his
people.
point is that you're dividing rights into for classes of people. Where do you draw the line for classes
So
of
most
people?
of your rights,
Men
already
versus
fell
women,
under
adults
the
versus children, bald versus haired.
So
Well, I guess
Okay.
it's preventing
So-
that.
So most of your rights, here's the thing: the states weren't respecting the rights. That's why they wrote the 14th and 15th Amendment and other amendments that came after, with the 13th Amendment, the abolition of slavery, and then the 14th, 15th, so on and so forth came. Hey, the states are not respecting our rights. This is now becoming a right that's going to be written. The 9th Amendment already covered that. Those are natural rights. You already naturally had the right to vote as a woman. Once you turned 18, of course. But then the states weren't respecting those rights. So the federal government stepped in and said, hey, we're also going to add more amendments, particularly the 14th Amendment, which is your civil rights. Now that actually came about in the late 18th century.
Clay, are all rights civil rights?
No.
Mm.
No. Your First Amendment right to be press in public is not a civil right. Your Second Amendment right to bear arms is not a civil right. Those are just constitutional rights.
I'm not so sure on that.
So it's kind of just like anti-discrimination laws, right?
Yeah, anti-discrimination is essentially where a lot of your civil rights fall into. And so with the civil rights era in the 1960s and 70s, essentially the federal government stepped in the mid 1800s to the late 1800s and started writing what civil rights were and the way government could not oppress you. And then all the way up into the 60s and 70s of the 19th century, the states were still violating that. And that's why you had the movement.
Right, because your civil rights are your race, religion, your color, your disability, your age. Those are your civil part of
Your freedoms.
Yeah.
Correct. If your marital status, your citizenship status, all of these things fall into your civil rights because they're classified as civil. But then you've got the 9th Amendment, which should have already covered it. They are natural rights.
So not all rights are civil, as you were saying.
Right.
But by the way,
let me ask you a question.
Second Amendment is definitely a civil right. It's protected under law, which is all the definition entails. So Second Amendment will be a civil right too.
Yeah, and
So
to answer
why
Tom,
do people-
prejudicial treatment is not legal discrimination under the law, so he wouldn't need to start a movement yet until the government said that you can't be bald and hold office.
That part is true. Isn't that wild that you literally can't even bring up an amendment to well, you could, like, it would have to be a big movement, but then like the government is not going to care that it's a natural right until you're actually oppressed. Is that crazy? Like, you have the right to wear socks and shoes. Well, that's a natural right, but it's not a civil right.
Hold on, you have the right to wear socks and shoes.
You do.
You have the right to go out of your house in
It
your
may be
underwear.
a civil right.
Shoeies.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If Clay is finished, I'd like to give a different perspective from a different country that has a slightly different definition of civil rights that are absolutely the same.
Do you have civil rights for bald men?
Well, technically, by definition, yes, but like to address it
Are they
directly,
Aborigine
his,
bald
super
men?
chat. Can you put a super chat up real quick?
Are they
Can you put a super chat up again, real quick?
Oh, this one? Yep.
Yeah, just to address his question directly. Can I start a movement for equal rights for bald men, and would you support it? Well, it is your civil right to support it. That is part of free speech here in Australia. As a bald man, if he's being discriminated against, it is his right to speak up about it. even though as stupid as it sounds that bald men would be oppressed, because look at Balderson, he's a fine specimen of a man. Yes, he is the right to a fair trial. They absolutely should be heard. That's pretty much, by definition in Australia, how that would be treated.
Bald men united.
But it's criminalized.
How is the civil right criminalized?
When it becomes hate.
Well, hate
no,
is
not at all. He
criminalized,
just
but
said prejudicial treatment. He could just not be getting dates.
Prejudicial treatment is criminalized.
No, that's not what prejudice means. I can be prejudiced against someone and not write a law about them, right?
I could not like someone and I won't get arrested for it. It's just how you treat your not liking of them and your actions after the fact that makes a civil right become criminal.
Like if I didn't allow someone to, or if I didn't allow bald children to come to my school or something like that, then they could probably start some kind of civil rights claim for that, right? Because
that would probably put your face on the boy of striped pajamas as
all
a meme.
these aren't allowed in my McDonald's.
Half your senators and shit would be out of a job if being bald was illegal. Half the senators and shit would be out of a job.
That's true. But you're talking about the difference between like a public school and a private school. At a private school, I could say you will wear your hair this way if you want to be here at the school.
Very good.
Girls will all wear their hair.
They do it all the time.
Boys will all have their hair like with a military buzz cut and X, Y, and Z. You will wear this uniform. You will wear this thing. You will wear your tie this way. You will act that way. X, Y, and so on and so forth. So, a private establishment. If I own a company and I say I'm not going to hire you because you have blue hair, it's because I don't deem that appropriate and is the best match for my company. Let's say you're a front desk receptionist.
But that's protected under law. You're a private company. You should be able to fire a person because you don't like the way they look that way. But if you fire a person for you don't like their hat or their skin color, the law will come in and get your ass.
Right. Something that I can't control, right? Or something that they can't control. If you have black skin, if you're Asian, if you're this, if you're that, right? Yes, that's out of their actual control. But if I say, hey, we are professionals. I could say tattoos. I could say it because that is something you chose to do, and that's how you choose to represent yourself. And maybe I don't like the way you represent yourself. Now, would I straight up tell somebody I'm not going to hire you because you have tattoos? No, I would just say you're not the best fit for this position, right? That is the by default answer this way to stay out of legal trouble. I don't think you're the best fit for this position.
I think you could be honest though. If you're up front, you could tell them because tattoos, we want a certain look. I remember a thing going to court where they hired this soap actress as because of her figure, and they said they fired her because she got pregnant. And once it worked its way through court, they say we fired her. We hired her to be hot, and she got pregnant on us. That's why we fired her. And you say, what about her right now? She's hot. It's like, nigga, she like 7 months pregnant right now. So they lost in court. But that just tells me that you can tell a person, I need you to look a certain way to maintain this job. I can't have a fat so-and-so being an actress in the role that I need you as.
A dress code isn't a bad thing. Like in Australia, it is actually like a legal thing that all schools, public and private, have to have a school uniform. You're not allowed a free dress. It's that, and even on days that they do set aside for you to wear what you want, there is still a dress code.
There's public
and the reason they do that is
they can still establish.
Public schools have dress codes. Yeah.
And they're allowed to. It's still a government establishment, right? You can choose to homeschool your kids if you don't like the idea that your kid has to wear private school clothes or public school, uniforms or whatever. You could still say, you know what, I'll homeschool my kid. Well, I don't know if you have that in Australia.
You should be able to.
But here in America, just the same as you don't have to vaccinate your children. You just can't send them to public school without that slip, right? So you still have options. You just have to work around them.
It's also why there's like a debate about. Sorry, it's also why there's like a debate about private store owners refusing to sell cakes to like gay couples and stuff like that, and technically they do have the right because they're privately owned,
Mhm.
and
I
it's
think
not
they should.
discrimination.
Yeah.
They don't.
Right.
They don't have the right to discriminate, so they can do it. They just can't say what it was for. So essentially, this is where people.
One of those just went through court. What happened with it? One of those cake shits went through court.
This is where people fall into the trap. Is that they actually reveal, they talk, right? So, you know, like you don't talk to the cops kind of thing. Why are you going to tell someone that you're discriminating against them in your business if you don't want to get sued? Like that's the surefire way.
Because you got to be honest. You got to be truthful. And fucking if you got a job where you got to lie, damn, they ain't worth having. That's why.
If I don't want you in my store for whatever reason, all I got to do is say, get the fuck out.
You're trespassed. You're allowed to trespass without giving a reason for
exactly.
Mhm.
Very good.
Which I think is kind of crazy, but that's just me.
Yeah, Big Sarge is in the chat, sends in the big 5, says popping in to say hey and spread some love. Salutes to everyone. Big Sarge, there's still a seat on the panel if you want to pop on. I see you're calling out Spin City in the chat, but see, I informed Alex to inform you that I was doing 2v2 only for the two of you, and I wasn't going to do 1v1. And Alex said that you were not interested in a 2v2 and only wanted one-on-one, but that is my condition for the two of you to have a debate. I have my reasons, and I reserve the right to make it that way. So if you want a 2v2, I can pair you up with someone, and I can pair Spin up with someone, and then I will willingly host the both of you. Carpenter Tom with the big 20 says, Evgie doesn't care about my pain. Evgie.
I don't. I have luscious locks of hair, and I bask in it. Envy me. Envy me.
Isn't like Rosemary like
I would join your movement if they started legally discriminating against you. I would be for the baldies.
For the baldies.
Feminist.
You cut your hair, yo. Did you cut your hair?
In solidarity. I would,
yeah, solidarity.
It would grow back. Yes.
Don't worry, Tom. I'm on the shield wall with you. I'll be on the shield wall with you, Tom. We got this. All the rest of you.
Good to see you.
You guys crack me up. You know, I had a thought. A girlfriend of mine, we went to our little gym class together last Friday, and afterwards we went back to her house. We were having pizza, and we were talking to her mother, and about kind of like the concepts of feminism, the patriarchy, so on and so forth. And we kind of pointed at the idea. My friend was like, well, shit, if I had a little wife at home doing everything for me, I could do really great in my career too. Right. And I started laughing because I was like, you know, I've had this idea lately that like, what if I just pretend to go gay, find like a cute little 23 to 25-year-old young lady who just needs a place to stay and their bills paid. And she can do all the cooking, cleaning, and the child rearing. And I could just focus on my career and get shit done. I think everybody's happy, right? Everybody wins here. And it kind of made me think like, you know, as much as men kind of shit on women for, well, they're not the best in their career fields, and they're, you know, they percentage wise, they're not at the top of the, you know, it's thing. Horrible. And it's like, yeah, but we're also juggling that and raising families too at the same time. And it's like, well, yeah, shit, if I had someone at home worried about all the other stuff, I could do great things too, right?
It's a gaslight too, Sarah. Men have had an endless advantage over women in doing these things and getting good at them and making connections. And you cats just come out under the women's lib and get some rights, and you haven't achieved what they have in 200 years. It's an unfair comparison. It's a gaslight, bro. And they trick women into that bullshit all the time.
Up until the Industrial Revolution, women couldn't do men's jobs. Do you know what men's jobs consisted of? Like plowing fields. Do you know what it took to cut down a fucking tree before there was a chainsaw?
So if you look at women slaves,
that the trees, by the time they got through a partial mountain, the trees would be growing back and they would go reharvest. So they would do circular harvest because that's how fucking long it took to clear one tree.
Mm.
I got
You do realize that women used to, back in the dark ages, with like blacksmiths, they used to work right side by side with their husbands, and they all worked at home, and they did work out in the fields. And most of my family, my aunt worked right beside, doing the same thing, going out in the fields, pulling out stuff.
Good, yeah, that's good. The women did work a lot harder.
They did go out and work side by side in those trade jobs with their husbands. But
That's
they
a great
did the
point.
kids together during the dark ages. The whole idea that the man went out to work and the women stayed home, that's in the last 1900s. That's something new.
And let's face it, that's now I'm not cutting down no trees. The average man ain't out there doing that stuff, right? The woman can do what I do now. It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's also how I feel when people bring up the idea of the nuclear family. Like that idea wasn't even around until the mid 1900s, and it's not any kind of prescription for how things should be. It's how things were at the time. It was things that changed to that point.
It's been in white culture since before Christianity. Y'all are crazy. And the women staying home was in white culture before Christianity. Women didn't come to raid. That's some Netflix Vikings TV show.
Say it again, Balderson. Say it again without the yelling and without y'all talking over them. Could you make your point again?
Like even if we go all the way back to like gather,
I can't make the fucking point if everybody
I say.
Oh, I thought. Sorry, you were off screen. I thought you were going somewhere.
Go ahead, Ben.
This has been part of white culture since before Christianity was even invented. This
The
is how
nuclear family type
always
shit.
worked. The nuclear family was part of white culture. The fucking woman staying home, although the woman did, especially when the man was gone, run the farm because women didn't go out raiding and trading and doing things like that. They stayed home with the kids. Obviously, if those went doing that, then the whole family dies. That's insane.
No, it was never just about having two kids, though, because there was such a high mortality rate for children.
Good point.
So you were never just having two children. You had to have multiple
Who said
children.
anything about just having two children?
And to work the field, they would have had a bunch of children.
Means, dude.
The nuclear family is the father's the head of the household. And it was typically closer to 3. And you had 4 or 5.
2.5. I thought 2.5 children was nuclear.
And hope that 2 or 3 would live. So, and that was still applied. That still applied back when the nuclear family thing became a thing. There was still,
women were doing a lot more back then than just staying at home and like sweeping and cooking. Like,
I agree.
All the way back to our very early history. In fact, women probably did way more work in our ancient traditions than we do today. Like they contributed
like the Indians,
largely
I'm
to
sorry,
society.
the Chinese. I got one for you. You see the Chinese planting rice in them fields at 90 years old, bending over with 2 babies on their backs. You know, you be like, how is she not dead out here doing this stuff?
Water.
Yeah, and planting rice fields, all bending back breaking stuff well into their old age.
Ghosty, would you go out and cut down a tree?
I've chopped wood before. I don't know if I could cut down a whole tree.
I think that's a yes. I think that's a yes. She'd give it a shot. If she chopped wood, I think that's a yes.
I'm pretty small, but like if we actually
wait a minute, would you go out and chop down a tree?
Very good.
If I had to, it would take an awfully long time.
If you had to. What the real question here is in today's society is, would a woman do a man's job?
Do you
My answer was if I had to as well, so I don't see a distinction yet.
If you had to.
Yes, I'm not interested in doing none of that shit. I got Flo on tape doing a really bad job trying to cut a tree down and get a shoe out the fucking.
Are you a woman, Joe?
Nobody wants to do that shit.
People have studied female slaves and the work that they did while they were slaves, and there are accounts of men saying that women were out there doing the same work.
Women were outdoing them. Women were out doing them. They would keep track of what they did. Sometimes the women brought in more shit than the male slaves.
I actually just saw something today, and I don't know the credentials on this, so don't quote me, but it said that they studied prehistoric bones, like we're talking like cave woman type of shit.
Yeah.
And women's arm muscles were actually far more superior than that of an elite rower, like the boat.
I wouldn't believe that for 2 seconds, maybe in a specific area for holding their child and just one specific muscle, but totally it's
people
illogical.
had to be strong to survive it. People were super active and healthy.
Why would the woman outdo the man?
Well, no, she's not saying outdoing the men back then. She's saying compared to today.
Today's men, yes, very good. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry, and thank you for clearing that up.
I think that also we need to account for the fact that, you know, long before we had all the technology we have now, jobs were more sorted into capability. Certain jobs were better for old people who could not move around and harvest crops. If you were able-bodied and you were one of the only bodies around, you're going to be doing the work.
Right.
Kids also did a hell of a lot more work than we let kids do now. We baby kids for a lot longer than we used to. They learned how to do things right alongside us because that's just what needed to be done so everybody could eat.
I think the grandparents probably played a role in because everybody was close together, the grandparents and the community at large, and raising the kids, and those early mothers and stuff would have been out working their ass off, and the family would have took care of the kids.
Necessity forces us to make children into adults early, right?
Essentially, what we could say is women have always been working. It's just a matter of where.
What capacity, I think, is what she was just saying.
So
like working versus
position
career.
is
that provides the question, which is, would men do the work of the women and the children? And the answer to that is no. The men will not do it. They will.
Wait a minute. You got fathers who have no moms, and there is no problem. Clearly, the men do it.
Are you as a man going to go do the dishes? No.
I did them tonight. Yes.
Not if the women.
I did them today. Yes.
Yeah, and there's going to be male nurses. Yeah.
And I cleaned the entire kitchen at the same time, all of that womanly shit, and cooked the meal. Brick.
Joe did all the dishes tonight, and he told me, honey, go grab a glass of wine and sit down. And I said,
no, I got the wine for you, woman. I got it for you. Fuck is you talking about?
If you look at the 19,
you are not going to do all that work.
I'm sick. Why would I lie? I did it today. You understand that I take care of this crib, right?
Okay, so Joe, you want to be a woman?
What the?
That doesn't define being a woman, though. That just defines taking care of yourself.
Women do.
His point.
You're the one genderizing these tasks.
No. The point is that whether if Joe had a woman at the home, or if he didn't, those dishes needed to get done regardless. And it's just a matter, it doesn't matter who does them. The point is get the shit done. This is the problem we have. So if you both work, okay, you both have, whatever going on, and you both have kids together, that means you were both duly responsible for what happens within your household. And if you're gonna sit there and say, well, she's the woman, she has to do that shit, then you're an asshole. And if she says,
I don't wash one dish, Clay, I wash them all, right?
I would even go as far as saying I'm sorry, hold on. I would even go as far as saying it goes the other way too. If my husband has to take a 2-week trip for training to do something in whatever, bump up Egypt, and I'm at home and the grass needs to get mowed. Well, guess what? Shit needs to get done. I'm not going to sit here and cry. Well, he needs to get home and do this, right?
Doing the work at home. Okay. Now, is the man going to take the time off from his job that he just went on to a trip with to come home and mow the grass? No.
That makes no sense. Why are you giving these weird freaking examples?
He's going to do it, right? So the job.
But a guy who has a job after work, he may wash dishes. That would be more reasonable, Brick.
You have the inability to listen. I get it. It's great.
No, I'm just saying your example of him taking off from work, that's not logical. However, a man. Okay, you gotta talk over me to say that. Okay.
Or talking over me every time that I go to speak. You literally need to speak over me. You sound like a woman.
Okay, you're emotional. Okay, I get it.
You sound like a woman right now. Every single time that I speak, it seems you need to talk to me.
You know why it seems that way?
Because
you
I don't know, maybe
it's because you filibuster when you hear my voice because I have an actual argument you're gonna have to work at. So rather than let me get it out, you will fucking filibuster like you were just doing.
I don't know why you need to interrupt me. You tell me, Joe.
I just told you because you will filibuster and say crazy shit, and I get exhausted and I want to drag you back to the topic. I just want to talk about the one thing.
Wow. So because I talk, then all of a sudden you need to
interrupt. Is that all you heard?
Yeah, that's exactly what I heard. You called it.
I said because you filibuster and deflect these things.
Blah, 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 blah. All that shit.
Hey, let's try this. What was the topic that we were talking about? Because I was... Yeah.
Well, actually, I was trying to say that you, Joe, as well as many men, aren't willing to do the jobs that women do.
I remember, yeah.
Now, here's the question. Are you willing to do the dishes and all of the laundry and get the kids ready for school and send them to school, drive them to school? Are you willing to cook all the food? Are you willing to nurture and care for the household and then go out and mow the lawn while your husband or your wife, in this case, would be in doing the job of going out and being the bacon provider? Are you willing to do all of that? Most men would say, no, I want to be the provider. Most men would say no.
Well, that might be two things. Are you willing and what you prefer? Maybe two different questions, yeah? Because the are you willing question, my answer is yes, because I do it all the time. That's easily answered. Now, the second, my preference is I like to do mechanic shit. I like to do the field shit. I'm tuned. It's in my DNA to cut that fucking lawn. It's challenging me. I'm tuned too. But listen,
I understand what you're saying. I
just wanted to say let me finish this. Let me finish it then. I am that guy. If I ate something and when I go in the kitchen to wash my shit, I wash everything in there. If I feel that if I'm over somebody's crib, I'm doing this shit. If my girl did something, I washed it. This is just my fucking, and I do all the mechanic shit too. Take out the garbage. I cook dinner every night fucking here. I do all of the fucking shit you would call feminine, and I took apart my refrigerator, my stove at 2:00 in the morning 2 nights ago to put a new igniter in. I do the man shit too. I don't have a problem with none of that shit if it got to be done.
Neither do I. Now, here's the reason I bring this up is because I hear a lot of confirmation bias going around. People were getting into the mode of, well, would the woman do the man job? And of course the answer is yes.
Of course.
Would she prefer to?
Very good. Let's get the women up here and ask some of these women. Very good.
Hold on before everybody comes back up. So what I am doing is I'm presenting the opposite question, which is, would the man do the women
prefer? Now, would he do? You said prefer. Now, remember the question changed a little bit. Prefer.
Would he do it as well?
Of course he would. If he's a dad, he'd do everything a woman had to do. He'd do it. We know that's proven. So we know, would he? The answer is yes.
Now we're going to talk about the actual family arrangement where the man, in his preference from the very beginning, has always, well, typically, not always, because there's the exceptions of some like little gentlemen, whatever, gentle, very gentle. But those guys are the exception, not the rule.
Which guys?
The
ones who
who
prefer or will do
to do the decorating and
that dude. Yeah, I don't know about that dude. I think I zoned out for a second. So we went over to my
right, and so because of that, then I have to ask the question: are these rule men, not the exception, but the actual rule, going to prefer to do the women's job? And the answer to that is no.
I think so. As a dude, I wouldn't prefer to do a women's job. I'm driven to do something rugged. So I want to do something dangerous.
With this is that there are jobs that for the rule women would prefer to do and men would prefer to do. So we need women in the workforce because according to the rule, there are only women wanting to do that job. Does that make sense?
That just the last part I'm wondering about. There are, okay, in the workforce, what are the womanly jobs that only women want to do? You said in the workforce, as opposed to something around the crib. In the workforce, what job is only a woman supposed to want to do?
Okay. And of course, I'm speaking to the rule, not the exception. So the cooking, the cleaning, the decorating.
Oh yeah, you got to do that in the workforce. Yeah,
teachers is typically
teachers.
one of them.
Good one. Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot about that one. But yeah, teachers and mediators.
Would you women prefer, answer Brick's question, would you prefer to do a woman's, and we're in quotation marks, whatever me and him just defined it as, work over a man's work? Which would you prefer?
I would prefer
like 1960s.
The women, I'm asking women.
I would prefer to do the men's work. I'd rather be out there mowing the lawn and chopping down trees and fixing mechanical parts and things like that. I'd rather.
Any women feel like that?
All right, I'll answer that, Joe. And I have to, for those who don't know me, my case is the exception to the rule, and it's way more traditional. We live in the mountains, we live in the woods. I could not go out and do the things he does. I typically get in the way when I try.
Very good.
This for me, but if he needs help, he probably needs help from a guy, a neighbor, a friend.
See, I'll do real work out there.
But probably
if
they're gonna do it.
If I may interrupt, because the dono goal is sitting there all by its lonesome, and it needs your help. So, to the panel, what say you to the people watching this lovely, amazing show? What do they need to do?
They need to go out, get a job, and donate. That's the only way this panel stays there. But if you have an extra 5 or 10 from your job, you should donate it to Sarah.
Yes. Oops, sorry. All right, Lone Wolf, you don't want to go anywhere, do you? You're having a lot of fun.
Of course. Well, I'll break this up into sexes for you. So if you're a man, let's man up and pay Sarah. And if you're a woman, let's see that woman power and let's give Sarah some money.
The matriarchy. Matriarchy versus patriarchy. Who's going to win tonight? Effigy for the bald men in the house.
Now listen. Let's see if I can give you a duck level speech. You see, when I was in my own feminist thoughts, thinking of feminism and how feminist I could be as a duck, I thought if I only gave more money to this woman, that would increase my feminism. And then I could reach peak feminism by reaching goals, monetary goals to women. Give money to Sarah.
Joe, cool. You're having too much fun with Clay. You don't want to go anywhere. What do we need to do?
Well, I'm going to think about you tonight, Sarah. Listen, if you love Sarah, if you love these women up here, if you've been paying attention to the conversation tonight, you realize that they need every bit of knowledge and wisdom that the men up here have to offer. We're opening up their minds to new concepts they've never believed. If you truly care for these women and care for Sarah, you donate so that we continue to teach these women, how to be responsible.
Oh, teach me. I like that. Husky.
Anyone in chat who wants to say an opinion should join the panel for a start, and then you should definitely shut up, Joe. I speak on behalf of every Australian on this panel that if you vote out Joe, then maybe I'll be able to get a word in edgeways, upside down, or even sideways. It'll be great. Thank you.
There you go. Respect to Griff.
Ghosty, as the lovely ladies on panel would say you.
Support a female-owned business by supporting Sarah the Raging Tomato right now. Help her. It goes to a good cause. Angle. Also, you'll be entertained. I have a lot more thoughts. I know everybody else does. So please keep the panel open and help Sarah.
Aww,
The only
very
civilized
well
one of the
done.
night.
Mrs. Balderson. Now we must respect Mrs. Balderson. So you must do what she says. Go ahead. Tell them what they need to do.
Men, do some heavy lifting. Go out there and show us what it's like to be a man. Do some heavy lifting. Lift up the coffers. Donate a little. Women support them in their efforts to do so.
All right. Easy said. And of course, Clay.
Yeah. This shit ain't free. Yeah, I actually agree with Ghosty. The only place I disagree with feminism is on the sexual shit. But yeah, because it's kind of weird. Gets kind of weird. But in all seriousness, this conversation is just starting to get good. And you can only do that if you support your local what are you, Sarah?
Narcissist.
Your local tomato. Your local tomato.
Tomato? Yes, your local tomato. Your tomato only gets content if you pay for it. That's just how it works. Pay up.
Yes.
Buy local.
Buy local maters. You got
the tomato population.
2 minutes. You only need technically six more donos in to continue the show, or the cost is going to go up and then you only have 15 minutes to do it. So you could spend $60 right now, or divide that between six of you. You each send $10 a piece, or one person's going to have to pay the load, and it's a big red fat dono, and then you'll only have 15 minutes to do it. So save the maters. Save
your big load.
Can I say this really quick to go off of what Clay was just saying for a little bit before we went into the dono bit?
Yeah, then we have to finish our preferences. Me and Lone still have to go about our job preferences.
I wanted to hand it to Husky because he did have a thought he wanted to add in, and then we'll go to Effigy, then Ghosty. Go ahead, Husky.
Lone can go first.
As a hanging beef truck driver destroying my fatigued body for my single income family in an industry not covered by workers' compensation insurance in this country, who can not get a word in sideways on this panel diagram? I feel it's worth mentioning. It's never the idea that society deflects on the fact that women want to do men's jobs. I've kind of actually noticed in our society here that since like the last 50 years that more men are seen doing jobs previously dominated by women, like clerical, sales, data entry, admin work, instead of doing the hard jobs that most people don't want to do, often paying more. It almost seems like men does not have as much motivation or expectations. Younger men, anyway.
Okay.
This was the exact point I was going to bring up, so Husky beat me to it. Yeah, most men
Good,
don't
because I've fucking been trying to speak for an hour.
So it's weird for Clay to say, like, even call it men's jobs. Most men are trying to be in a position where they're not doing fucking physical labor for work. Like that's what most people aspire to, is not to fucking break their bodies for a wage, right? And that's where the better paying jobs are, is in white collar work and not blue collar. So I don't know. It's strange to be like, well, that's men's work. It's like, yeah, well, men don't want to fucking do it either. No one wants to fucking do it. There's a reason why that's the bottom of the totem pole. That's the reason why, you can send like, ex-felons and shit like that to go do it. Right. That's the only thing that they can get. Like,
so would you say that those men who do those jobs, quote unquote jobs, technically that's a scam because they could do more?
I don't think any job's like generally a scam, right? It's just there's a matter of want to do, right? If you're doing your dream job and it's in an office, you're probably like, yeah, this is way better than digging a fucking ditch in 105-degree weather.
Or standing on a rooftop putting tar on the top of a roof in 100-degree heat.
Like man, right? I mean,
the irony is, I broke my body for a wage, because at the end of the day, I was getting paid for it, right?
Right.
Yeah, some jobs are exploitative for sure.
The way a lot of people my age see it here is, well, I personally come home covered in blood, fat, and fucking smell like beef. But they get sit in an air-conditioned office and do data entry. Yeah, they get paid less, but they have less expected of them, and fucking but they couldn't afford to do a single income household, especially where I live in Australia.
Depends what kind of computer job you have, but yeah.
No, you say come home smelling like blood and beef. I think
You
he
can't
does gay
define a
corn.
computer job because at a gas station you're typing numbers and pushing buttons on a computer.
Well, so I said it depends what kind of like work with computer. Like there are lots of IT professionals that make a lot of money that can live off of a single income.
Yeah,
All right, do we call that man's, woman's? What do we call it?
Clerical jobs is more what I'm referring to. Obviously,
Clerical jobs
has
constitutes carpal tunnel. So you are actually breaking
your
your body
occupational
for a
safety is a paper
wage.
cut.
Well, I mean, but
Clerical,
I
I
could,
get,
even if I broke a leg, I could still work an admin job, right? I could still go to work, still make money,
I don't
right?
disagree with that.
If I worked construction and I broke my leg,
Yeah, you're
well,
done.
I'm gonna be holding the stop sign in the streets or something simple.
If you're lucky, yeah.
But you're still making the same wage, Sarah. Holding the sign or digging a ditch.
No, holding a sign in Australia, you get paid more than the guy digging a ditch.
And I've never seen some guy with a cast on
Being a
holding a
flagger?
sign. They probably gonna sit you down if you broke your leg.
lot of
You won't even
people
get the
flag, yeah.
flagging job, right?
Depends on what kind of ditch digger, because essentially, what is an excavator?
A ditch digger.
For the record, ladies and gentlemen, you failed the goal. It's fine. You can fix it. One person can be our hero for the night. Save the show, put on that cape proudly, and send that one dono. You have now about 12 minutes left. If we don't hit it, then we quit it. All right, back to you guys.
Be our hero, baby.
Did Ghosty and
Yeah,
we always hit it and
Lone
quit
Wolf,
it here.
do you want to give your job preferences?
Actually, I can tell you what I do for a living. I'm a mechanic by trade. I've always done what they considered man work. I was a soldier in the military. I worked on a farm at the age of 12. I mean, if you want to count that as a man's job, I've always done men's job, and I've been raised as a tomboy.
Anecdotal break, but damn. Right?
It's funny. Okay, so go ahead. No, go ahead.
And right now, I'm depending on Ant to run the household right now, which is great because he does most of the cooking.
My boyfriend does the
It
cooking
takes
too.
him 3
And
hours
he's
to
also
make a
named
fucking
Ant.
burrito.
So it's great. I don't know if I could handle everything if Ant wasn't here. So
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I had a young lady living in my home,
I gotta go back to
you're
this.
calling
It
him
makes
a
so
lady.
much sense.
what I'm saying is, like, they say, oh, well, men do better in their careers when they're married. Well, if you have somebody to wash your underwear and put your socks away and worry about all the other shit you got to think about, and all you got to do is take the trash out and mow the lawn when you get home, and dinner's already made, and all the other decisions have already been made for the day. By the time you get home, you crack open a beer, eat your dinner. Yeah, I'd be a fucking amazing career woman if I had someone at home doing that. Holy fuck shit.
like Ant, he does my laundry for me so I can get some sleep for work the next day. I mean, Wednesdays and Thursdays are my days off. This is my Sunday.
Nice.
Is fuck shit
Taking
like
care of stuff.
The deal sounds shitty. Now I have to listen to y'all for a little while. It sounds like a shitty deal. I don't want it.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. But we don't.
on the panel,
We
don't
don't.
worry.
But when we say it the other way, we're like, hey, look, we're both working. I'd like my husband to take
out the garbage or-
take ownership of the other half of shit that has to get done because we both have jobs, right? Then they're like, well, you should just be at the home anyways. You shouldn't be working. It's like, well, but I am. Okay. So
yeah, but that work is kind of gay is what I was thinking. Listen to you cats, you make it sound like y'all got the better end of the deal. I had to do laundry. He wouldn't have survived. That's you're right. Stop it. Make it seem like it's easy now.
The point is that all that shit.
The kids, you throw the kids in there, suddenly it's a new game, though.
Yeah, all that shit that you would be doing if you were by yourself, essentially, now you have someone else working with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like mundane work. So that's why people say like, oh, it's easier, but you kind of, if you're just stuck at home, especially if like you're with kids all day long and you don't have a social life, like just hobbies or like adults to talk to. Maybe
Oh my God, stop! You're making me cringe. Stop it!
Yeah,
I don't
you
want to be
go
there.
crazy. Like you're just listening to children TV and music all day, and you're just cleaning and doing. It's just like there's no creativity. There's no like.
Oh
like
my
you, I don't know.
God!
That's how
Stop it!
women
You
go
make
crazy
it
like
sound
that.
scary as fuck.
That's why a lot of women
is.
get involved with their children's schools and stuff. So they have a social
Right.
life outside of the
That's
house.
smart.
Yeah.
Sounds smart.
Right.
Brilliant,
And the men, like if you're in the workforce, not just men, but also women, if you're in the workforce, you should be getting involved with your business. Like obviously you don't rise up through the ranks by just simply,
doing your job,
doing the clerk
Clocking
shit,
in from 9 to
clocking
5.
in and sweeping the floors. Like that's not going to get you the better paycheck. So
That's a good point.
and I'm not saying that it's guaranteed either, because there are some shit employers, but that's going to be a better outcome typically, because even if it does turn out to be a shit employer, you leave that fucking job and go get a job where they actually do care about you.
Right. Or at least care that you bring in more to the table, one or two.
Exactly. You learn. You
Where
rise
you
up
learn and rewarded and rise up and
do
rewarded
more
for
in
the
that
shit you did.
position or that role that you play.
Then it's fair. You outwork the next guy and you do the steps. Now suddenly,
And eventually you own the business.
yes, suddenly it's worth it. If it's just clock in 9 to 5, sweep to 4 every freaking day of my life, I'm like her, stuck at home doing the laundry. I want to jump out a window suddenly.
Right.
Marriage works the same way. If you're not putting effort into it, then it's gonna fail, and you're gonna feel like shit all the time, and your coworker, your mate is going to feel like shit all the time, and they're not gonna want to work with you.
There's a certain amount. I know my girl, I had to know it like clockwork. Every 2 weeks, you had to take her out somewhere on the trail and see some new rock or something, or she lose her freaking mind. As long as you hit her on them big days, I had certain shit you got to give and take. I had her go on. Oh, that could work out well.
Rocks are cool.
I like rocks.
Yes, she loves that outdoorsy shit, man. She loves trips. And she drives. So we may take long trips. It might be 3 hours. We want to go to Colorado Springs or something. So 3 hours there, 3 hours back. She don't mind driving there. Or if I drive there, she's like, "Want me to drive back?" And she's up after we've been going through hiking or climbing Red Rock or whatever. You got to climb something to get to every fucking thing out there. Or fishing to lakes, all that out parks. She loved parks. Right, any place she can, and she was goofy like that. She take her shoes off. You take it out, I'm good for a week.
Interesting. All right. Full transparency. You only have 6 minutes to get in one big fat red dono if you'd like to continue this conversation. I've actually been enjoying it because we're not like all at each other's throats tonight. This is working out very lovely. And I know there's a lot of different directions we can go to this, but we'll leave it up to the chat.
Absolutely.
I just got the screen zoomed in on the women. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I want to keep seeing the women up here.
Still gotta hear from Ghost. Don't forget.
Let's see some really big donos for the 2 exciting engagements that we've heard of this week. Congratulations, Crack Baby Go, and congratulations, Ayaton. Let's donate in honor of those 2 beautiful things.
Yes. I love that. I love it. It's so funny because Ayaton said in the Discord, she's like, everybody, guess what? And I gave 3 options. I was like, you're engaged, you're pregnant, or you're a billionaire. And she's like, 1 out of 3 is not bad. And she sent the picture of her ring. And I thought that was so lovely. And I was like, oh my God, like it's legit.
I'll have to go check that out. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
And there's a distinction, Clay. I don't know the guy who gets that enthusiastic about sending people pictures of his engagement ring. I don't even know that guy. I've met guys, and you know, when you meet, hey, oh, we got engaged, and he's just as proud. Yeah, check this out. I've never seen the enthusiasm. You know, oh my God, it's great, Joe.
I bought my boyfriend a really cool
never
ring.
the guy who's being surprised, right?
I got my boyfriend a really cool ring. It was a couple $100s, and it has actual velociraptor bones like in the ring because he loves raptors and we love dinosaurs.
Creative.
And he's not even like a jewelry person or anything, but he loved it. So
yeah, but
That's
the thing,
awesome.
yeah, no, you're right, Joe. It is the exception for guys to really care about that sort of stuff because you know, especially our manly men, they go out and work, and you know, it's the same principle with loose clothing on the job. You know, you don't wear jewelry, you don't wear loose clothing. You know, those things actually hinder your work. So if you're on a construction site, you understand this. If you're on any type of construction site at all, you understand why it is you don't wear jewelry and loose clothing.
Yeah, but this is a little different about jewelry, right? And the not caring. The guy would know in advance, so it's not really similar to the situation, but he would care. He would probably talk to all of his friends about how he wants to set up his engagement, run it by them, like that kind of stuff. It's not about the piece of metal. It would be more about the situation. So the guy wouldn't be proud.
Yeah, but he's not doing that to impress
the
them. He's doing that so that he can set it up so that he can impress her.
Right.
And her family. He's actually not doing it to impress his friends. He's like, hey guys, I need you to be my groomsman. I need a best man because this is happening.
I need a favor as opposed to I am so thrilled to do this.
You don't think guys are like proud to get married or like
they don't care. I'll be
it's not something I sit up and dream. One day I'll be married. Women do that shit. I don't know if men do that.
I feel like they're taught to do that, like literally.
I'll put it this way:
baby dolls when we're children and stuff.
Boys grow up,
I dig it.
Become men. Women grow up and they become princesses.
I am a princess.
This is ridiculous.
I've never wanted to be a fucking princess.
Someone had a moment where they were talking to their best friends or their father, and they were like, "I'm going to do it," and they had like a moment.
That's literally the
right. That's
like
right.
you grow up, you're a little girl, and you got your little tiara, and you're gonna grow up, and you're gonna find your Prince Charming and all that.
I played with Hot Wheels and dinosaurs.
I was
Actually,
not in
correction,
so I'm not too behind you there, Ghost.
Yeah.
Correction, my partner's a queen.
bugs.
Because fuckhead, I do as I'm told. All right.
That's right. That's exactly right. Huskies, you know.
But like that's because my parents raised me as like a very outdoorsy person. Like my dad liked NASCAR, so he was buying me Hot Wheels, and I just happened to love dinosaurs because I watched Jurassic Park when I was like 4 years old, and I was obsessed with it. So that's why I feel like conditioning actually is a very important part of who you end up growing up. They weren't putting baby dolls and doll houses and Barbies in front of me. These are like these were the things they put in front of me, and that's how I ended up growing up.
Interesting. That kind of knocks a lot of that theory out of there. That the women's roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
toy kitchens, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like, clean this kitchen when you're a kid.
Cook this meal.
They even sell vacuum cleaners and stuff for
kids. Right.
Toy vacuums for little girls.
I got one for my daughter when she was little.
What's the whole little kitchen thing set?
There's easy bake oven. But
Easy
there's
bake.
like yeah. I did have one of those. I did.
Most of that is because our kids watch us, right? So they're naturally inclined to be around mom.
Want what y'all doing? Had the props,
right? And so it's easier if you have a fake one, and then they can do and emulate what you're doing. Even my son enjoyed playing with the kitchen, and now they even make the kitchens like all neutral colors, like gray and yellow and stuff, because like they all take interest in it because I want to do what mom's doing, and that's who they're following around.
I thought that vacuum shit was the craziest shit I ever heard.
My son, I kid you not, I bought. It's a real vacuum, but it's a smaller like.
Yeah.
It's something you see in
the little
like a
bubble
college
popping thing.
No.
I know there's one.
No. It's
I remember
that.
I remember
It's a
that.
legit vacuum, but I bought this like smaller version. It's something you'd use like on a hardwood floor, like something really light. My son, it was his. He loved it. Like he was addicted to that thing. You couldn't stop him from vacuuming. That's all he's like. You know, I mean, they love to emulate because they see us doing
think you
these
sold
things.
me on it.
Yeah.
I thought it was the craziest shit in the
But is he
world. Now
doing-
you sold me.
Like he's seeing you doing it, but it's the do, right? That
Mhm.
I'm of the opinion that males like to do things, whereas women like to talk.
I don't want to fucking talk.
He might be on
No,
to something,
likes to
man.
talk.
Go ahead.
Speaking of
Men love to
talking,
talk.
we
I think
have
it's
failed. We have failed to meet the dono goal. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everyone who jumped on the panel with Taylor. And you were all. It's finally working. Right. I finally trained you all enough to understand how we're going to go that first route. And you all did it perfectly. And it was beautiful. Everybody was respectful and polite to the guest. And you all asked great questions. And we still were able to get through. You know, I understand her having to leave a
All
little.
except Duck.
Except Duck's Duck. But thank you. It's really starting to work out the way I want, like I envision it. And so thank you to all of you. Ghosty, we are going to plan a 1v1 with you and Taylor. She's down. We're just going to figure out your prompt and get you guys set up and get a date.
Cool.
And if anybody else was interested in doing like a feminism type of debates, I'm sure we could get some 2v2s going as well with those topics. They're too easy to set up nowadays. But I want to go ahead and let everyone have their final thoughts to the panel. And so we'll go ahead. I've set up the raid, Uncle Guns. I've set it up for Marathon Kev. If you want to start dropping that link in the chat. Spin, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with your final thoughts, sir?
Final thought. I was trying to impeach Duck. So I apologize it came out wrong.
You should be saying that to Duck.
Secondly, it was a good conversation. I enjoyed it. I look forward to the next debate.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Spin. Lone Wolf to you, please, my darling.
Well, thanks for letting me join you tonight, Sarah. I really appreciate finally getting to hang out with the guys I got to watch. And it was even nice to have Ben for a little bit. I know he ain't physically here, but if you can pass that along for me.
He's there. He hears you.
And it was great to finally get to talk to Spin.
Yeah, you know, I have to talk to the woman with the antennae that loves the antennae of the pissant. So, of course.
So it's kind of nice finally getting to hang out with you guys. This is kind of fun. He begged me to come
Agreed.
on panel for Sarah. So you have to thank Aunt for that.
Oh, thank you, Aunt.
Thank you, Aunt, and thank you, Lone Wolf.
Well, thank you very much for letting me hang out with you guys tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. It's perfect. Effigy, you bearded lady, you go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, fun conversation. I'm glad a lot of us came to realize that we're really just talking about degrees of feminism, and that most of it is just fine. It's really important to out the people who want to take it all the way back, because they're basically just another stripe of supremacist. Let's see what else. Other than that, yeah, that's it. I'm just going to leave it there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Mr. Joe Cool, to you, please.
I wish I can say the smart shit they did. I'm high. I don't even remember the shit that was said when I was up here, to be honest with you, but I had a good time. It's always a great space. It was new faces up there. I really enjoyed myself, and I don't really remember what we were even talking about. I had a great time, and I'm so disappointed with these people. We need to dox everybody in chat for not making the goal. Next time they'll pay. All right.
Oh, wait, really quick. I remember, Iotin, since you're still out there, don't worry. I'm still going to hold out hope, girl. I know that the divorce rate is 50%.
Oh!
That's why he fights for no fault.
That was brutal.
Damn!
Too soon, F. Too soon, bro. Too
No, in all
soon.
seriousness, congratulations. Hope you guys are happy and have a long marriage.
That's lovely. We love our little Iota. Now, Husky, sir, to you.
Yeah. Thank you, FG, for your very good responses. You were actually had very good responses. I'm glad that I believe we see kind of evenly, I guess. Kind of made the same defenses. Joe, fuck you in your 110 Miss Balderson, you're a very lucky lady. Mr. Balderson is a very lovely man. And thank you, Sarah. And yeah, by the way, chat, you failed us. I was having fun there.
You're cool. You're cool. Fuck you. You're cool. That's all I'm thinking when he said that.
That's for sure. Ghosty to you, darling.
Yeah, I just ended up reading his tagline now. That's kind of hilarious. But it was nice getting to know all of you guys. Oh my god. I'm high too. I'm sorry. It was nice talking with all of you guys. I look forward to talking to Taylor. And by the way, on my channel right now, we're doing like some philosophy stuff.
Down. Somebody put a chat in the link.
If you guys are interested,
Link in the chat.
check out my channel. Ghosty, it's on the screen. And thank you for having me as always, Sarah.
Oh, are you live right now on yours?
I am, yeah. I'm gonna end it after this, though. It's too late.
Oh no, you do philosophical shit.
I'm gonna
okay.
probably do it tomorrow or Saturday. So.
Okay.
All right, somebody still put a link in if someone could do that, please.
I was gonna say I would
chat in the
switch
link. Yeah, we know
the rate over, but if you're shutting down too, then that's
yeah.
okay.
Now I'm going to bed.
Mrs. Balderson, to you, love.
Oh, I had a great night. I'm sorry that it's over so soon, but I really appreciated seeing some faces that we haven't seen in here in a while. It's nice to see you again, Effigy. It's nice to see you again, Ghosty. It's nice to meet you, Lone Wolf. Really, I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope you guys all have a great night. And again, congratulations to the new lovebirds in our community and wishing you guys lifetimes full of wonderful wedded bliss.
Aww, I'm so happy. Clay, to you, my love.
Hell yeah. You guys know Sarah is actually the 100% best moderator on these YouTube streets, probably in the world, maybe even the universe. I don't know. Like for real though, like chat, appreciate you. You did good. Like better out of you because I really have a lot of faith in you. But we did cover a lot. We didn't get to cover. I was hoping to be able to talk to Ghosty about the verbal abuse thing. But she is going to be doing another debate. So you guys, even though you failed that, maybe we can get into that later with that, whatever's happening with that. So that'll be cool.
For sure.
Also, it was nice to, get into a little back and forth with Joe. I know he and I get on some of these panels. We do that. And this is a lot of fun for us. I'm hoping it's a lot of fun for you guys. But in all
we do it everywhere we go, by the way. Everywhere we go, we do this.
Yeah, we do. And it's great because essentially we come from the same realm.
It's great.
These discussions have to be had with our crowds.
Yeah,
so that's important.
And it sharpens both of us, Clay. I don't mean to usurp your time, but it sharpens both of us. I grow as much as you.
Yeah. But yeah, in all seriousness, Sarah's the best. So you guys you failed
miserably. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. All right, let me go through. I've got a few that are already scheduled. They're currently unlisted, but I'm going to spend the rest of my night finishing those up and getting them out into the public. But so far, what we have tomorrow night, we have a 2v2 debate between the Vince Wilson Show, Mojo Rising, Admiral Gibbs, and Critically Thinking Veteran. They are debating Trump is consolidating power at an alarming rate. That would be tomorrow night, 9:15 p.m. Then Monday, the 27th, we've got Christians, Twisted and Weekend Original Germanic hold on. Original Germanic moral systems and ruined Western society. That is Mr. Balderson and the Occult Priestess versus Dragon Fist TV and Azrael. That'll be a 2v2 Mod Monday. Then next Thursday, we have America versus Germany, the eugenics debate. We've got the paranoid American coming on. He believes that the eugenics we run now are greater than the eugenics we ran during World War II Germany, which is crazy to believe that if you think about it, but he's got a system there. Also, skip the beat, this Saturday night, I've got the Seriously Saturday series going, which means we're not debating blood sport. We're actually going to have a conversation. It's 5 panelists. The topic is non-dualism is ontologically true and perception is irreducible to epistemology. That is a 2-hour discussion. And then, of course, we will open and go into full gauntlet mode. But that's going to be Jen from the Church of Entropy, T-Jump, Shaman Omar, Benjamin Balderson, and Andy. I've got all
sign me up for that one. Yeah.
I've got all the great philosophers. I've got all the great philosophers of YouTube all in one place for you. And there's actually many more that are up and coming that I haven't even put on the books yet, but they're there. They're happening. We're scheduling out. We're scheduling hard. And we're going to be adding Ghosty and Taylor 1v1, some type of feminism debate to the list. So also announcement in the Discord, there's a little calendar button. It should be in the top right corner on your Discord in the Raging Tomato Discord server. That's where I'm putting all the events. You can actually hit the interested button, and it actually lets you know when it's time. It actually hits you up at the 9 p.m. time slot and says, hey, this is going off. So if you want another reminder, if you want to know what's upcoming, even if it's unlisted, you will be in the know before anybody else. So hit that button. And just hit the interested for all of the events that are up and coming, and you will be in the know before anyone else. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for what a wonderful evening. I'm sad we have to go, but don't worry, I got plenty of work to do. And you're going to go on over to Marathon Kev's. I believe he's reviewing police footage. So fuck off.